Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day you've taken to join us and however you've chosen to tune in here tonight from the Batcave, we thank you on behalf of myself, Red Thunder Adam Gerard, and my cohorts and comrades in the Just Us League, the Honey Badger Terrier Neil.
G'day, g'day.
The Dad Knight Braden Ahern.
Oh, hello there.
And the latest edition, the Proby of the Just Us League, if you will, Mr. Proby himself, Matt the Proby, Richardson's Proby, Mick Probison.
I'm not getting your fucking coffee. But hello.
And how are we all this week, gentlemen?
Probe-tastic.
Good.
This is going to be a pun all night, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know.
Probably.
Yeah.
God damn
Oh, shit.
We haven't filled our...
I think you mean Jod, damn it.
Jod down.
it. Sorry, Jod.
Kayfabe.
Didn't mean to offend you. Blasphemy.
Yeah, Jod will be mad. Jod will smite thee.
Smoted.
Yeah,
Smite
consider
Smite me,
thyself smoted.
almighty smiter!
Well, gentlemen, it's been a good week for TV, I think, this week. Has it been a good week, though, for just living large and in charge?
I'm not in charge of anything.
Absolutely.
Good.
I had to be careful to keep my shoes on around my son this week.
Hey.
Oh, yeah? Well, what happened there?
Well, after last week's promo, if you haven't seen it, get on YouTube, look us up and have a look. But last week's promo, I stubbed my toe and hulked out a little bit. And
Yeah, it was a little bit scary, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah,
Impressive.
Well, after
Yeah, I didn't know you could do that.
my children, if you're not aware, I am called the Dad Knight. I have 2 kids, otherwise known as my Robins.
Wait, what? When that's what dad means?
Apparently.
Wow. English.
Just in case.
Wow.
But when my youngest watched this video, he actually got quite concerned after, well, any time I started taking off my shoes, that I was going to hurt my toe and turn into the Hulk again and throw things at cars.
Well,
Legit?
turning into Lou
Legit.
Ferrigno is pretty scary on its own,
Yeah.
so...
I think he can make a good living off of turning into Lou
terrified.
Ferrigno. Turning into Lou Ferrigno, I mean.
Yeah.
Go to bed, kids, or I'm going to turn into Lou Ferrigno.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, Braden. You now have, like, the guaranteed go-to card, because you just be like, I'm getting angry.
I swear to God, I will stub my toe.
I'll take this.
Don't make me
shoe is
angry,
coming off.
son. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Don't make me take this out on the doorway.
Don't make me flex for 5 minutes.
Well, I guess before we get into this week, something I think I probably neglect to do at the start of episodes normally is, anybody got any pressing questions that they want to let marinate in the heads of this brain trust, as it were?
Yeah, I've actually got one from one of our Hispanic listeners. I went to say viewers, but...
Amigos?
Amigos?
Audio amigos.
Audio amigos. Nice, I like that. I'll bring it up here. Here it is. Congratulations, boys and girls. You've been accepted into the Justice League of America. While doing your tuition there, you will be staying at the Watchtower, but sadly all the rooms are taken by current serving members. You have to share a room with one of the heroes. Which hero do you want to share a room with, and why?
Well, there you go, folks. Stay tuned to the end when we empty our back sack on that question.
It's detailed.
It's as tasty as it sounds.
Gelatinous.
My wife brought up a discussion with myself this week because I had
You talk to your wife?
Yeah, I
Who
do.
does that? What is this?
I know.
60?
I know.
Yeah. I
Anyway.
just assumed you went home, drank a scotch, beat her, and proceeded to wear suits and draw up advertising campaigns or something.
Wow, thanks.
And sit in front of an open fire while Dalmatian brings you
Yeah,
slippers.
exactly, with your feet on a bearskin rug, with your trained dog bringing you slippers, smoking a pipe.
Wow. Thanks, guys. That's just going to go so down well.
Vivaldi plays in the background.
Oh, but now you've got a standard to rise to now, so it's good. It's good to have these goals.
So if I come back here next week with 2 black eyes, you know my wife heard this.
Yeah. The probie has been beaten.
But she was. I had this insatiable urge to watch Superman Returns. Obviously because of Ray
Because
Palmer.
you've got brain damage.
Brain damage.
Because you wanted to see the new incarnation of Christopher Reeves.
Anyway,
Because you were like, man, that last one didn't have enough underpants over the top. I need to go
Needs
back
more-
to the one just before. I don't want to go all the way back.
fucking hell. Wow, thanks guys. Fucking, I feel so welcome right now.
Did he have pink eye in it? Legit question. I want to know if it's been going on that long and slowly but surely Brandon Roth's entire face is just going to turn pink.
It's just gonna have this.
His eye takes over.
It's gonna have this mold coming out of the side of his head. It's this pink fucking mass.
Yeah.
Anyway, my wife's question was, in Superman Returns, Lex Luthor inserts one of the crystals into a hollowed out rod of kryptonite,
Yep.
throws it into the sea. It turns into this landmass of kryptonite. My wife's question was if we could do that with other objects, say like a donut or something, or
Only if it was Kryptonian.
so.
As it's a Kryptonian rod. This is how I understand the science. Don't quote me. I'm not. Believe it or not, I'm not a Kryptonian scientist.
Why not?
Although I play one on TV. I don't. I wish I did. Hints to the writers of Supergirl there. You can get me anytime. I'll work cheap. That's pretty much going to be on my headstone.
Yeah.
Anyway,
We'll
now
work this
Kryptonian tech isn't like human tech. Well, I imagine the reason that you can only replicate the kryptonite like it does, and the reason it can create the Fortress of Solitude is because it can replicate Kryptonian things like Kryptonian tech. So if you had a Kryptonian donut, you could probably replicate the hell out of that. Pretty much any Kryptonian cash. This is pretty much the Kryptonian equivalent to the Philosopher's Stone, I think. And that's not a Harry Potter reference. That's a like old timey actual like history
So
reference.
You and your learned ways.
Yeah, my
How
learned
dare
ways.
you.
My brain just melts when it's like, what is the word I'm looking for reference?
So
What
if,
brain? Why?
if we got a ring of Superman spunk and put that,
I see. For me, I
if you have a
imagine.
sea of
I
like,
imagine when you live on the planet Krypton, which even before it blew up and made superpowered people, obviously had some crazy mentals because Zod was already fucking like expelled.
tripping balls.
So I don't think you're gonna have technology that this nutter can just be like, wait, all I need to do is like slip this rod up me jatsy and I can have an army of myself. Yeah, I'll go the shard butt plug for a while, sure.
I still like the concept of an island made of Kryptonian pudding. I like that. I like that idea. But then again, there is a reason I'm the fat one of the group, so...
You're the honey badger.
Yeah, that is true.
Run away!
Honey badger!
That's
Anyway.
actually a fair question. I'm actually wondering about possibilities there.
Well, until we get to Krypton, we'll never know.
That is true.
Well, you can't get there because it's a fucking asteroid belt now, isn't it?
Well, is it, or is that all set in the future, and are we just reading comic books that are chronicling the future? Or did it happen so far in the past that what we're reading are historical tomes, much like cave paintings, and we just look at them and be like, oh, this apocryphal nonsense?
I really hope it's not set in the future, because quite frankly, if Lex Luthor from Christopher Reeves' era Superman is yet to come in that fashion, no, I'm out. I'm done. To be honest.
S is for hope.
S is for hope. I'm giving you the bird. What's that? Encouragement? Gratitude?
Anyway, that's all I got for this week.
That was a good question. And anytime we get to talk about pudding, I know Terry's happy. So,
Fuck yeah, man.
so you've
So
made somebody's day.
That's how you need to win his heart and make
Yeah.
him like
If
not
Terry,
interrupt you on
if
your.
Terry was a
As long as that you
Make-A-Wish,
give me pudding or a blowjob, I'm a happy boy.
if Terry was a Make-A-Wish kid, it would just be a pool filled with pudding.
With John Cena presenting it to me.
Oh fuck, I'd be there.
Yeah, but
Get
the problem is
bugger
that, the problem is you'd walk in and they'd be like, "Oh, Chad Kroger, I can't believe somebody asked for."
Oh god! Fucking hate that prick. I'm not
have we
fucking
gone-
married to Avril
have
Lavigne,
we
you
gone-
stupid.
Well,
Have
the
we
height
gone-
difference
hang on,
is
he was
awfully
married to Avril-
similar.
I thought Avril Lavigne was married to the Sum 41 guy.
No, they got divorced and now they're married to...
She's married to Chad Kroger.
Chad Kroger.
He's like-
I hate anybody
like
married to Avril
85 and
Lavigne
she's
except for
2.
me.
Man, he
I'm
didn't
not-
remind me of somebody that would do that.
Yeah, no.
But that's not how he reminds you.
No, I would have said like,
Anyway.
why he and I together can fly to the moon and straight onto heaven? Because without him, They're never going to let me in.
Look, pick one thing: Chad Kroger or Proby.
It's why not
Chad
both?
Proby.
Chad Proby.
Ah, fuck.
Chad Proby.
Chad Proby.
That is your new fucking name, Chad Proby.
Until you come on probation, you are Chad Proby. I like the name. The name Chad in
Chad
general.
Proby, that
Alright,
works.
The Chad.
All right.
The Chad
All right,
Proby.
so
edition.
here's
The
my
Chad Proby. The Chad Proby.
Fuck.
I'm walking home tonight, boys.
Yeah. Good luck.
Alright, what? You got something to say to that? But you got Chad Proby's got something to say.
I no.
doesn't have
I
something to
have.
say? The Chad
I have
Proby.
something to ask. If I am going to be labelled Proby
Yeah.
Yeah.
for a set amount of time, I want to know what that amount of time
4
is.
years.
And if no, fuck off. I've done my apprenticeship. I'm not doing another fucking 4 years.
Well, I'll give it to you in an answer that fits from the Batcave. Dick Grayson had to be Robin for an X number of years and then go off to become Nightwing before he could take on the mantle of the Bat. So what I'm trying to tell you is, Probster, that at the moment you're Robin, and stop trying to be old Damian Wayne and being like, look, Dad, I can be Batman now. Okay. The probation ends when, look, I'll put it to you this way. The last guy we had on probation lives in a concrete cellar underneath my house.
Alright,
And
so
do you know why he lives there? It's because every week he was like, hey, can I ask you something? Where's my probation up? And I beat him with hoses until he couldn't speak.
I see where this is going.
and now he rubs the lotion on his skin
Yeah.
until it makes it smooth again.
Yeah, I tried to give him a dog, but he ate it.
Fuck you.
All right, well, now it's time for This Week on TV.
My name is Oliver Queen. After 5 years in hell, I have come home with only one goal: to save my city. To the rest of Starling City, I am someone else. I am something else. My name is Barry Allen, and I am the fastest man alive. A friend recently gave me the idea for a new name, and something tells me it's gonna catch on.
James Gordon, Alfred Pennyworth. We're gonna get the guy that did this, sir. New boy, are ya? You'd say. Good luck, mate.
All right, once again, still no Gotham, because why would you bring the show back, right? I
Yeah,
think
that's
I think it comes back sometime 2017.
2020.
No, that's the paradox. It's not the crisis or some shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of the crisis, we're starting off this week with Flash episode 17, Tricksters.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the one I've been waiting for the last 2 months. Barry and Joe go after a terrorist, Axel Walker, who goes by the moniker The Trickster. Axel sets a diversion for the Flash so that he can break James Jesse, the original Trickster from 20 years prior, out of prison. James and Axel attempt to extort wealthy patrons by poisoning them and ransoming them for the antidote. When the Flash arrives, the Tricksters fit him with a bomb that will detonate if he stops moving. Dr. Wells coaches Barry on how to vibrate his molecules so that he can phase through objects, which removes the bomb. Afterward, Barry provides an antidote to all the patrons before capturing the Tricksters. Later, the Flash reveals his identity to Eddie so that he can keep Iris from looking into Dr. Wells for her own protection, as Barry realizes that Wells is a Reverse Flash. In flashbacks, after failing to kill Barry as a child, the Reverse Flash, or inverted Flash,
Thank you.
escapes down the road only to lose his speed. Gideon informs him that travelling back in time has drained his powers. He removes his mask to reveal the real Eobard Thawne. Eobard then stalks Dr. Wells and reveals the particle accelerator is not built until the year 2020. He then appears to kill Wells and steal his appearance and identity so that he can develop the particle accelerator. Dry throat. Particle accelerator sooner and return to his timeline.
This is going to be hard for me to say because it means eating some humble pie and crawl,
That's-
things I've said earlier in the year.
Just hold on, it's in the oven. Now it's ready.
And that is that this episode was not only the best episode of Flash, this might be in the top 5 best episodes of anything I've ever seen. I've watched this episode 5 times this week, and it has not lost a step. It's just phenomenal.
Mm.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah,
It's up there with Dawson's dad's death. Yeah, it's that good. It's that good.
Yeah.
it's a good episode. I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Answered a lot of questions.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Thank God. Only 5 more episodes to go, and it chose to break it out there.
And I will say this, as a jaded filmmaker, and by that I mean as somebody who understands the intricacies of it and can sit there and watch it and be like, you've been on this set for like 8 hours, you poor cold bastards. No wonder Joe's got a beanie. And what I took away from this was that they actually made me hate a character and like have a visceral hate towards a character, and that was the real Eobard. Well, the real Eobard, please stand up. And that, just unbelievable what this guy just did with his body language and his face, and in killing Wells' wife. And seeing the other side of like getting Tom Cavanaugh getting to be human. Was but yeah, just as far as the actual like the Eobard Thorn. That was, for me, the most chillingly accurate portrayal of a sociopath, down to where he's just kind of looking in the car when it's flipped, like with a nonchalance of like, yep, cool.
Dead. She's been dead for centuries.
Yeah, he's like, this woman's been dead to me for hundreds of years. I don't give a fuck. But it did, he did raise a couple of issues, which I'll get into in a sec, but I always like to hear Braden's thoughts on The Flash, because he gets a bit excited about The Flash. Have you noticed that? So, Bray, what do you got?
I do get a fair bit excited about this. It was good. See, I know we touched on it briefly during the week. You said that you think Wells he's dead. He's dead.
I absolutely think he's dead. He turned to ash.
I think there's evidence that he might not be, but I think there's evidence showing that he's still inside there, but at the same time there's evidence showing that he's not. So we've had quite a few points in this series where Eobard has shown different levels of humanity, I guess. The first one that comes to mind is when he decides to help Firestorm separate and save their lives instead of blowing them up. So things like that sort of tell me that he's in there still. But then, and also the fact that, you said just then, he come in and he was cold as all hell.
Yeah.
And as well as there is times where he is, but not all the time.
I noticed something.
He actually likes Barry, he likes Caitlin, he likes Cisco, he likes all these people. Whereas I don't think Eobard
I noticed something, and I think it was a costuming thing, but it was very slight that makes me think you're right, and that is that past Wells' glasses are totally clear. Now, current Wells' glasses are like slowly filling with black.
Yeah.
It makes me think that little bit of clear in his glasses is meant to represent the humanity of Wells, and that's why whenever Eobard takes complete control, the glasses come off. So you could well be right there on that. There is something that I picked up, and it's kind of a two-part thing. And that is that I'm fairly certain that Eobard Thorn is the reason that we have a crisis in the year 2020, because if you remember back maybe 2-3 episodes, Eobard made a comment that messing with time will always find a way to balance out. He says to Harrison Wells that, in the year 2020, you and your wife turn on a particle accelerator that causes a certain thing. I need it done sooner. So clearly the particle accelerator explosion is meant to happen in 2020 and give us the Flash and all these other metahumans. He's sped that up. And that ties into my other part of it. So not only has he now caused 2020 there to be a completely different catastrophe from what he was planning, and something that's probably blown his existence out of reality, and that's why he's so obsessed with it, but I'm also of the belief that by going back in time when he did, he also changed something else that changed history, and that's why we currently have James Jesse in prison from 90s Flash, because I'm of the belief that, you ever notice in TVs and movies, if they ever show you somebody's dad, they'll usually grow up to look exactly like that dad? I honestly think the 90s Flash is meant to be kind of an alternate reality, or like, Back to the Future, how they break the time streams?
Yep.
It's an alternate time stream where the particle reactor went off, and so whatever. Like, obviously, I'm playing with the actual storyline of that because it's malleable for this show. But the particle reactor went off. Barry gets hit by lightning, turns into the Flash, and then all these other villains start turning up. Eobard Thorn's gone back in time, and because that's got a ripple effect, that's created James Jesse early, but there is no Flash, so that's why he goes on such a kind of mad spree and gets caught but never actually gets brought down, because in the Flash TV series he properly brings the trickster down. And so I kind of think that Thorn has caused multiple little paradoxes, and that's why he's freaking out now, because he's realized that everything he's doing, and I almost wonder if that's why he's not being nice and making sure to keep these heroes, because every little thing he's doing now is just destroying the chances that he's ever going to get back to his home.
Oh, absolutely. So he's got to clean up his own mess, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
So he's basically got to have these superheroes become existent
For him to exist.
so that he's not altering the timeline so much so that he goes back to or doesn't go back at all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I think we're going to find out that's going to come of it is the reason that he hates Barry is going to come back to something to do with Eddie. It's got to do with Eddie and
Yeah.
Iris.
I mean-
There's going to be that reveal when he's like, I'm your
Blah, blah, blah.
blah, 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 great grandson or whatever
Yeah.
it's going to be. He's on this is TV, so they're
Yeah.
not going to follow the comic book thing of like, why you do it? Because I
Honey,
like to
honey.
fuck with the Flash.
Yeah.
Or is completely just gone on a weird tangent. Is Eddie partially relation to Inverse Flash?
Well, he is.
He is.
He is.
Yeah.
Eddie is theoretically his
fact.
great grandfather.
All right.
Like
okay.
3-4
I didn't
generations
know, I
before,
didn't
yeah.
know that.
Yeah,
Oh,
Eddie
that's
is
cool.
his predecessor.
Yeah.
Okay,
And I think
that makes sense because like you look at Earboard in his true self and he's
blonde and
blonde, blue-eyed.
Yep.
it's Eddie.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Oh,
looks quite
okay.
like him. That's
All right. So I didn't actually realise that.
Yeah, he is.
I think we've got to talk about Mark Hamill as well. That was
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
beautiful.
Loved Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
I was a little bit, I wouldn't say worried, but I was a little, like, I did think a bit that, because he obviously has, over the last few years, played the Joker many times,
Yes.
and I did wonder, would he take it maybe just that little bit too far and become the Joker? But he did a really good job of toning it down.
He went more Hannibal Lecter than Joker.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
the way I looked at it, like I was watching it with Dr. Bang, and he's like, "Well, that's just really Jokerish." And I said, "You haven't seen the 1990s Flash, have you?" He's like, "No." I said, "Well, technically, the trickster, the way I look at it, was Mark Hamill's blueprint for the Joker."
Yep.
Yeah.
So he's gone back to that blue. I think he did a fantastic job. And you take someone like the trickster and put them in solitary confinement for that amount of time, they'll even go loopier.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So he
not
drove
surprised.
somebody to commit suicide.
It was the psychiatrist. That
Yeah.
was it. So that's just it. I mean, I'm not surprised he went darker.
The thing that I really loved about Mark Hamill and about that character as well is that, did you notice that only one person has got one over on the Flash, and it's not a metahuman,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
just a dude,
Mm.
just a pissed off angry dude with some bombs.
With some time on his hands and a way to think it out.
Yeah.
I
Exactly
I
it.
actually quite there was only one point where I've gone, oh, it's the Joker. Is it when he said run.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when he said that, it was like, oh my god, that's just like playing
Sounds a lot
Arkham
like
City all over again.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
part for me that I found kind of like humorous though, I was watching at the beginning and all I could think was that perhaps this episode was directed by Michael Bay for just the sheer number of fucking explosions that are going on. And one dude tripped over a baby carriage. I don't know if anybody saw
Yeah, I
that.
saw
All I
that.
could
Yeah.
see was just like, I'm like, man,
The thing is, Megan Fox
Good
wasn't in
parenting.
this episode.
Yeah.
Megan Fox wasn't in this episode, so it was
so
clearly.
it can't be. So it's only
Oh,
produced by Michael Bay,
that's
not
exact-
directed.
That's right. That's correct.
But no, yeah, that just if you only watch one episode of The Flash, seriously watch this episode.
You'll be
good.
confused, but it's a great episode.
You would be, but at the same time, to me, it felt like, say, like a film like Talented Mr. Ripley,
Yeah.
where there's like a
Yep.
serial killer, or Cape Fear, there's a serial killer
Mhm.
hunting somebody,
Yep.
and you get to the end and he's not put in jail or anything. You just know that he's now disguised as this person. That's what, as I say, it is almost a film in and of itself,
Yeah. Absolutely.
a nice noir film.
Yeah. Yeah.
The setup was good. Like I did not expect that. Like
Yeah,
I didn't expect the trickster to be going right. This is my plan for the last 20 years.
yeah.
yeah.
I'm going to make it work. I seriously did not see that coming. When I was only sort of linking on to something, I didn't know what it was, is when Wells said, oh, the bomb's not there.
Yep.
And Barry's like, fuck you, I'm not listening to you, you're a piece of shit.
I'm a black independent woman. I'll do my own running.
Yeah, and then goes, oh, the bomb's not there. And they're like, oh, hang on. Right, and then they start going through the Ironheart,
I know.
Ironhearts, and it was just like, yeah, okay. I
Yeah,
see where
there
this is
was just great. It was just greatness in this episode. The
was.
greatness we don't normally get to see from this show. That
It was
could
great
do.
and fun.
Yeah,
Because
was,
for me,
yeah.
it was like two generations of Flash just together.
yeah. I was. I
That's-
gotta admit,
I
I was.
love that.
I was scared.
I loved
don't
it.
want. I'm telling you, I don't want to see Dawson's dad die again.
No, he hasn't held an ice cream.
Yeah, I know.
It's
I know, It's
okay.
why it's keeping me alive. But I'm telling you, part of my heart rate was like, don't do it.
Don't
Don't
grab that ice
kill.
cream.
Don't you kill Dawson Stat. Don't give him ice cream.
Don't
I'll
give
quit
him
the
a
show.
bubble,
I'll
I
quit the
will.
show. Yeah. If I see him blowing a bubble, I'm out.
No,
I'm
God.
out.
See, there's part of me that I know it's stupid, and I know it's stupid fanboy, but there's part of me that goes, "What? I'd love it to see if Henry was a speedster. I would love that."
Okay, so give me your theory on that.
I don't know. There's part of me that I don't know what it is. I'd like to see Henry turn out to be like Jay Garrett or something like that. I would love to see that. I've no like huge supporting theory or anything like that. I just love it to be. It's just a fanboy stupid thing, but I would love that. For me,
See, like I say, to me, I just kind of wonder if it's not the Bart. Whenever you see Bart in the future, he slowly becomes Homer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what I picture. This is that
Yeah.
slowly Barry Allen is going to turn it. Grant Gustin is going to bulk up over the next. It's in his contract.
Yeah.
He's going to eat like 1,000 chickens a day to bulk up.
Yeah, he's going
And
to
then
look like.
he'll turn into-
Essentially, he has to look like John Wesley Shipp.
Yeah, and I think that's what the outcome is. They want him to look like that.
Because that's, I mean, that it's just like I know, like we had our pre-cast discussion, and I realize it's a stupid fanboy thing, but I would love to, like Barry got like, you said Barry goes through his dad's art things and finds this like helmet. Like, why do you have this silver helmet with the wings of Achilles on it? What's going on here?
Your stupid fanboy thing is
Yeah,
still better
it is
than the
Achilles,
list.
Yeah, no, it's just
Well,
my
yeah.
own stupid little.
It's Achilles, not Aries.
Yeah, Achilles. Yeah.
Achilles heel.
No,
I'm sure
it's
Achilles,
the
Hermes. Is it Hermes that
it
ran?
might be Hermes. It was like the Goodyear symbol for a while. It was the foot with the wing on it.
Yeah,
Guy that
yeah,
runs really
oh,
fast.
Or is that Apollo? No, it's not Apollo.
no.
It's one of them.
I reckon it's Hermes.
Pretty sure it's Achilles.
No,
Look,
'cause
I know who. Easy way to settle this, Mr. CrossFit. I know you're the one who knows the answer to this right now, and you've bent the fucking bar. So
you just let us know?
once you've got yourself down from the salmon ladder, and you've done whatever sideways thrusting lunge or whatever,
Or throwing dumbbells to another man.
yeah, or just lifting up bits of concrete and smashing people with it. I don't know what CrossFitters do. I assume it's just Herculean feats of strength. Like old school, like you go in there and there's dudes with those curly mustaches, just fucking kettlebelling, just be like, merrily, yeah, alright, sir. So yeah, if you can just write in and let us know, Mr. CrossFit, so we can know going forward who had the wings on the helmet.
Yeah, it's one of those silly little fanboy things, but I'd love it. It's
Yeah, I
just
can
one of
see
those
that.
things. They might do it just for the fans because Henry's not a huge character until he gets eventually killed off. But it's just how it is. Because all the flashes is this based off the New 52? Yes and no. Is it meant to be set in the New 52 then?
Yeah, I would go with that. It's set in the New 52, but it's
Is
kind
that
of
the one where all
they're
the
drawing from the past, and Barry's a little bit Wally, even
Yeah.
though Wally's turned like it's kind of it's
it's a
hard
bit
to
messy at the
explain.
moment?
Yeah,
Okay.
but that might be because of timeline issue, like as in because the timeline's been fucked with. I'm honestly wondering if they're not going to get to a certain point, and we realize like the
Well-
reason Barry's an idiot is because the timeline has been so corrupted. It's
Just fucked him.
like he's
Turned
not
him
meant to
to
be the
one
Flash
brother.
yet.
Yeah.
So he's not mentally there.
I mean,
and
he hasn't dyed
mentally
his hair
capable
blonde. So me
That's
being
true.
Aryan. But no, I mean, solely this episode was phenomenal. And shout out to the writers for putting in the Star Wars reference.
Yes.
It has to be said.
I'm surprised they
does.
didn't put Cisco. They must have been like, how do we put Cisco in this scene?
Cisco
Cisco
just-
fit, but he needs to be there.
He pokes his head through the window and goes, "No, it's impossible."
Cisco just walks in and be like, he said it.
Peace out. I'm Cisco, y'all. I gotta go to the pipeline and write my Tumblr page.
Well, that brings us to this week's Arrow, episode number 18, Public Enemy.
Okay, Lance reinstates the anti-vigilante task force as Maseo, dressed as the Arrow, kills the mayor. Pause there for sound effect. And critically injures Ray. Ray makes a full recovery after Felicity injects him with nanotech to make a blood clot shrink. Ray has Lance captured and reveals to him that Oliver is the Arrow. Lance reveals it to the city and Oliver is arrested. During transportation, Roy intervenes and instead reveals that he's the Arrow. And in our Hong Kong flashback, Oliver and the kid, I forgot his name.
Akio.
The kid, Chinese
Akio.
kid.
Akio.
Akio. that was it.
Akio, or if he's like his mother, Akio.
Accio.
So
Yeah.
I assume Accio, since we go with the race rule of pronunciation, it's Accio.
Yeah. You mean like how we go with the reverse rule of, the reverse flash rule, because that's how they say it.
In case of RGS there.
Hey,
Anyways.
hey, Bray,
Hey.
fuck you.
So Oliver and Accio are being chased by Argus agents and run into Shadow's twin sister, May. She helps them hide, but they are found at her house. Tatsu and Maseo burst in at the right time to help take out the agents, and Oliver reveals to May that her father and sister are gone.
Pretty solid episode this week for this as well. But I think he's been a bit quiet. He's been a bit mopey. So I'm going to pass it over to TCP to see what he's got to say about this one.
TCP. God. I was a bit annoyed with this episode. I was expecting a better brawl out with the League of Assassins and Oliver and his crew. It just seems like a bit...
Twilight-esque.
Yeah.
Twilight-esque final battle.
Yeah, final battle
But
of like
that wasn't
7
a final
people.
battle.
Yeah.
Final battle's
Yeah,
coming.
I agree with that. That wasn't a final battle, but I have a better question. Why do you two know the fights from Twilight so intimately
Married.
that they're just like at your lexicon to call in immediately?
Married is my excuse.
I have a vagina.
Hey, he has an excuse 'cause you do know that like you're like independent black man who can go where he wishes and can get
You
up
can
and
be
leave.
Diggle. If you
Yeah.
believe, you can go from Probia
You
to
just feel
Diggle.
like you could be like, I need to go out and shoot a man.
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 You enjoyed Twilight, didn't you?
No.
You did, didn't you? Don't lie. You were
No.
all about that baseball scene.
No, I think I would rather be
Oh, so
Chad
you know
Kroger
it
than
too,
watch.
do you? I haven't even seen the fucking movie.
The books are better than the movies. Just
I haven't
the
even read the
books are
books. Am I
always
the
better
only
than
one
movies.
here who has no Twilight experience?
No, I've read the books. The books are actually okay, poorly written, but they're okay. The movies
Poorly
basically.
written, but they're okay, mate.
Your opinion is invalid forever now.
The-
Nah.
Is this
Nah.
this is about the
Nah.
fifth time I've been kicked off the
Nah.
show now, isn't it?
Oh, mate. I don't know if you're coming back from this one. This is
no,
is
like, to be
egregious.
honest, I read the books. I'm not. Everyone's raging about them, so I read it. Then I saw the big epic
Did you
final
read
battle.
50 Shades of Grey as well?
No, if I want that, I just go to RedTube. Let's be honest about it.
Just look up BDSM, yeah.
Yeah, basically.
That's it.
Basically. But no, I agree with your review on the fight scene. I was kind of like, yeah, there's a flaccid dick on my screen. Why?
There's a lot of twirling around and leaping over each other, but that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, is it like, no, this battle is over because I've raised my hand in the air,
Mm-hmm.
and there's conveniently a helicopter that's like.
I also
just
like the
gotta
fact
put
that Raish could just walk off.
Yeah.
He just wanders off. He's
Yeah,
just
I did like
so-
that too.
You know what I'm out, bitches.
It's just
Yeah.
like, okay, don't even a smoke pellet. Just literally, it's just like, oh, is that a spotlight? Let me just take one step out of it. Yep.
Well, I think they
Head of the demon.
Batman.
And
because of Gotham PD, I think they're actually responsible for the training of a lot of.
They get sent into departments.
Yeah,
they
they
send
do.
you up to Gotham PD to train you.
And,
Yeah.
and there's a big question that they didn't answer in this episode, and is who the fuck picked up Roy?
That is true. That is true. But
There's
It was Thea.
yeah,
Oh, yeah,
took
yeah,
him straight to bed.
there's a couple of
You're
issues.
broken. Let me rape you.
There's a couple of
Sure.
issues in this episode that have to do with time, and that is that this episode picks up exactly 2 seconds after the last episode.
Yep.
Now this is why I'd like to point out some issues in this time. So that means it all takes place in the same 24 hours as the last episode. Thea and Roy went into Thea's apartment and started making out and getting naked, which Malcolm was obviously there because later on he's seen at that apartment watching the TV.
I thought it was Roy's place.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
it was
took
Roy's.
us
Okay,
to Roy's
whatever,
place.
fine. So they go to Roy's place, that explains that. So they're at Roy's place, they're taking their clothes off, and then so that's the last episode. In this episode, for some reason, the TV's just on. Roy apparently just leaves his TV on at all times. Either that or it's the only illumination in the house because he can't afford light bulbs. So that's on there, so they can happily watch that. Then also, Ray's eye, his pink eye, suddenly went down miraculously before he even had the nanotech pumped into him. So I've got a problem with that. I think at least a bit of consistency. If you're going to highlight it non-stop in the episode before,
Yeah, there's
darken
at least,
that side
At
of
least
his
get
face.
someone to fight in his face before this episode.
Yeah,
too.
exactly. So that was my problem with that. But I will say there was something very cool in this episode that for me is a bit of bit of a medical science geek, I guess you could call me, got very excited about, and that's nanotech. And that's because, yes, they science fictioned it up with the fact that nanotech can't actually shrink things. That's just because he's the atom and eventually he comes to shrinking and they're trying to implant that. But nanotech is something real that eventually they theorize will actually be able to cure us of things like cancer or things of that, where basically they program them so they match whatever your DNA or blood code is. Gets put into they get put into your system, and they'll go through and find anything that isn't meant to be in your system, because cancer obviously holds a different structure, and they basically eat them and you shit them out and you're cured.
Yeah.
That's nanotech. That's
It's
like,
exciting, yeah.
and to see it on TV like this, and to see it being used as something where it's like, yep, save the guy's life, means that in the future it's that kind of pop culture stuff that makes people not afraid.
Yeah, that's just it. It's the slow introduction sort of thing.
Exactly. Like, look at cloning. All the movies in the 80s to do with cloning, it was all like, we made this freak that's going to kill you.
Yeah.
And it's like, people are like, don't clone. Cloning's bad, okay?
But here, look, we made an ear on the back of a
mouse.
rat.
Yeah.
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 So, it's just things like nanotechnology. I'm excited for that. I've always maintained I want to live to be like 120.
Yeah.
Nanotech's going to get me there.
I just still want my flying DeLorean. That's all I want.
You want a DeLorean before the hoverboard.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Oh, they're getting close to that.
Yeah.
With quantum levitation.
Yeah. This just turned into a Back to the Future.
Well, they're
podcast.
going to need something soon, because plane travel's not safe anymore.
Have you seen the video of quantum levitation?
No.
Or quantum locking?
No.
Awesome. I'll show you at the end.
Okay,
end
cool.
of the end.
We'll put a link, if you can, when we post up the episode, put a link for the listeners as well.
So yeah, if you're listening, check out quantum locking. It's pretty freaking awesome.
I did hear just on a technology thing, just to sidetrack completely. I actually heard a thing talking about cars, self-drive cars, and they're going to get to the point where it's going to be illegal for us to drive a car, because the computers will be set up on such a system that you won't need traffic lights, because they'll know the time in they need to interlock with each other, and we'll just pass by and such.
I hope not.
I hope not.
Yeah, I dislike that.
I hope not. I love
That
my
means-
American muscle.
Yeah.
I love my
That means
muscle
motorbikes
cars.
are phased out.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily. Motorbike can still work on the same system, because it's just propelling you forward.
So you may as well just sit on a chair like fucking
Basically.
Wally.
I might as
Yeah, okay.
I might
you
as well
say
be
that,
Harrison
but
Wells.
I'm going to look at the other side of this as like, okay, so we go from how many hundreds of road fatalities to 0? Yeah, I'm cool with
Yeah,
that.
but-
Oh no, well, I'm definitely cool with that, but it's the feeling.
It,
It's the feeling.
we're heading up to
Okay,
Wally.
I'm gonna. I know we've gone off track here, but just to point that out, like 100 years ago, dumbasses were like flying in the air, going on a boat. Before that, going on the water. Are you a heretic? I'm not sure about this. I've always been on the land. We've always had
Horseback?
feet. We can't give up feet.
Horseback?
Yeah, exactly.
What is this?
That's my point.
I'm not saying
20
that.
years time, and when 50 years time we are actually old, we'll be holographically talking to each other and being like, self-driving cars are the best thing that ever happened.
Since loaves bread.
I don't want to live in that stage. I want to be dead before then. But anyway,
We are well sidetracked.
There'll still be electricity.
I'm not hereticking. I'm not saying, can't do that. That's black magic. I'm just probably shouldn't have said that, but anyway, I'm just thinking more along the lines of that. I do like my 1980s cars. And
Oh,
if
I
we can't have
I
my-
agree with that. I like the feel of driving, but
Yeah.
for me, if the ultimate sacrifice for the great, because we live in a society
greater good.
where it's like, literally, I honestly think this is how product surveys are done. They go out in the street with a megaphone and they just yell, "I need the dumbest motherfucker within the sound of my voice." They collect them and I queue them. They collect the five dumbest motherfuckers within any country. They sit them down, they ask them questions to get them to do things. And whatever these 5 dumbasses do, the rest of us are governed by it.
But here's the thing. Like, if you're talking about self-driving cars because people don't know how to reverse parallel park, teach them better. My dad taught me how to reverse parallel park. I can do it properly. My brother-in-law sucks at it. He didn't get taught at all. He had a driving instructor that never told him how to parallel park.
I'm not arguing with you on that at all, but that's the point, is that you're the exception who gets punished here, sure.
Yeah.
But for me, at the end of the day, if it literally means, if I have to go out drive my own car to know I'm never going to get killed in one,
Well,
bonus.
How about we focus on like not dying in an airplane for the next 2 years before we look at cars?
I'm going back to boats.
Boats
What we
aren't
need-
making-
you know what?
Tony Abbott's pushing away the
we-
boats, so you're not
we
going to
got-
get them either.
We got phones to make place of communicators in Star Trek. We got GPS. We got all this shit. You know what it's time for? Transporters. We got food printers now. So
Yeah.
basically got replicators.
Why don't we just
time
go
for
like
transporters.
Why don't we just go like tubes out of Futurama?
They've actually looked into that. There is a way to do that, and you could. I think that the theorized test was they could put a tube in that could get you from England to Japan in about 3.5 hours. The problem that they're encountering is more
Oxygen levels.
No, they get like getting you there and all that is fine. It's stopping you at the end. That is
So that you're not
that's
a
the theoretical
paste
problem
inside
is
the
that
tube.
it's the irresistible force meets the immovable object, and so far in these schematical tests, we're not coming up so well on that.
Those watermelons
They're
aren't doing well.
squeegeeing down the window. Let's put it that way.
So at some point in time, we should probably get back to Arrow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Well, yeah, okay, Brave. What was your thoughts on Arrow?
Yeah, solid. I love this episode. Yeah, the fight scene that you guys were upset about, and not upset about that at all, because it wasn't supposed to be an epic fight scene.
Are you
It was
upset
supposed to
though about the fact that literally last week again he was like, "Nah, you guys can't fight the league, crazy." Then, like I say, it's been about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's literally
Yeah.
been
Alright,
5
guys,
minutes
you
real
know-
time. He's like,
Shut
I've
up.
thought about this.
Right.
I've had a
You
good
just
hard
come-
think while I was on taking a shit earlier.
While I left you in a
Um,
pool of water that's being electrified.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, look, Roy, if you can survive being electrocuted, you can survive the league.
Actually, my points for me this episode go to Roy. He's been to fight school. If you've watched, he actually got a little bit
Yeah.
more badass this week.
Points more go to fucking Laurel for throwing herself off the roof without, and
Yeah.
it just being like, he'll catch me.
Yep.
The dude isn't even superpowered. Like, if I was friends with Superman, I'm gonna be like, this is risky.
Yeah. Before I do this, can you just guarantee that you'll catch me?
So
Yeah,
I want you to
is-
speed up, like fly up, catch me, and then meet me at the same speed, so you don't chop me into 3 equal pieces.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And just make sure that Lois Lane isn't anywhere near you so you don't have any distraction whatsoever.
I know, right? Sorry, Brad, to interrupt you.
But
Sorry, man.
no, the whole point of them being on the roof was to be cornered by the police. It was a trap.
Yeah.
It wasn't supposed to be an epic fight. It's a trap. The epic fight scene is coming, and it's going to include, the likes of the Atom, probably Barry. We know we've got more crossovers coming. That's going to be an epic fight scene.
Yeah, there's I saw some photos. They're up on our wall
Yep.
of Firestorm, my man Bazza, and Ollie dressed in full was it league garb, the whole black.
Mm.
Yeah,
I saw a still of that, and I'm like, oh, that looks like a tasty episode.
it does.
I think
That raised some questions with me as well, because Ollie looks like it doesn't look quite like the league's uniform. It looks like sort of
It looks
he's
like-
crossed with the leagues.
Looks like Malcolm's.
I
Yeah.
will
Yeah.
say this though, and that is with those pictures also don't forget that's daylight and we're used to seeing Oliver in the dark. So even though his shit is green under like ridiculous lights,
Yeah.
but still in the dark. So
Yeah.
that theoretically that could still be
Oh yeah, very much. But
green.
maybe at the same time, since Roy, the ballsiest man of the episode, being in lockup as the Green Arrow, he's confessed to it. It's like, well, guess what? You've got a confession. Kiss my ass. So maybe
Yeah.
he's taken Merlin's garb,
Yeah. And he's become the Black Arrow maybe.
Black Arrow, for a little while, until
Become the reverse arrow.
Reverse Arrow, the double negative arrow.
I think that's what's the opposite of an arrow?
Fuck, I know.
Spade.
Circle.
Okay, so he's just hitting me with spade.
Yeah.
I must be
The
flying.
punch.
Boop, 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 boop,
He's
boop,
the-
boop,
he's
boop, spade.
the black of
The black plank.
black clubs.
The black clubs. Yeah. The ace of clubs. Ooh. Anyway. I love it when I get some out of his mind. But no, this episode was actually pretty solid. You can't really...
Nah,
It's-
you can't
it's
complain
solid.
about it, but it was still a little bit of... the end of it was what needed to happen. The rest of it felt a little bit like filler to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do want to point out a massive shout out to Felicity's mum for actually stepping in and being a mum this episode. Like,
Yeah.
Instead of just being a...
Well, to a degree,
being-
her comment, what's that, your boyfriend's dying. Well, at least you got a boyfriend.
But that's very Felicity's mum though, isn't it? If you think about it. Like, the silly
it's
cocktail
dumb
waitress.
blondish.
Yeah, it's very blonde, but at the very end of it, she was the mum that Felicity needed right then and there.
Yeah,
Like when
yeah,
Felicity didn't say no, like
She's the mum. She's not the mum we need. She's the mum we deserve.
that's the one that's the mum that Felicity deserves. No, when Felicity said had that conundrum where Ray said, I love you, and she never repeated it back. She sat outside and just went, shit, what just happened? And her mum just basically laid it all out on the table.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
And that's
the
a very parental thing
That's
to do.
the first time that she's actually been a useful character in this TV series. Like, if you think about it, when she was
Yeah, absolutely.
back before when she met
Met Ray for the first time, yeah.
she was fucking useless. You could have written that whole episode without her in it and be done with
It
it.
was hostage.
Yeah, no, she was hostage. Her and Felicity was hostage. Basically, the whole premise of that
Okay,
episode
so-
was that she had the tech from Ray that Felicity could piggyback Wi-Fi off of, and they could get saved
So if
because Riddler.
because if Felicity's mum wasn't there,
Mm.
Ray would have given that tech to Felicity, who in turn would have been captured and still been able to use that
The thing is,
technology anyway.
Well, I think the episode before it was the secret origins of Felicity Smoke, so I think they were trying to draw in more of a history thing for
Oh no,
Felicity.
That was the episode.
No, you're being a probie. You need to go back in the corner and you need to... What are the two things you need to know? Know your role and shut your mouth. You're a probie. Otherwise, you will serve an apprenticeship. So, I mean, no, Felicity's mum did actually step up to the mark hugely on that one. So, I mean, like, it was well written. For that once, it was well written.
I also want to point out, I don't know if it's just because I'm only used to seeing them in the Arrow Cave where there's a lot of space between them, but when they all went into the interrogation room, Jonathan Diggle is like the largest human being I've ever seen.
I want to see him next to, like, the mountain from Game of Thrones, just for a point of reference.
Yeah.
I think he's quite a large black man. I think he's the basis of all those black stereotypes.
So we'll get Diggle,
Yep.
The Rock,
Yep.
Shaq,
Yep.
and what was that other guy?
Charles Barkley.
Charles Barkley, all in one.
And we'll
in a
will
lineup.
collectively hit the floor when we realise Diggle is the biggest man on the planet.
Yeah, I would love that if you put him next to Shaq and Shaq just looks like a normal sized dude and you're like, what the fuck?
Then how big is the rest of the cast of Arrow?
No
Shit.
wonder they can't give him a mask. There's not enough material.
Just get a cape and wrap it around his face.
Yeah, turban.
That's true. Then he'll be the only Islamic black man in Starling City. That could
It'd
raise a
fit
few
though,
issues.
because then they could have some racial wars and it'd be like the 60s had come all over again. He can change his name to Malcolm Digg.
Malcolm in the Diggle. Oh yeah, Blaxploitation Theatre brings you Arrow. Black Club.
Right, well, we were talking a little bit earlier about medical technology and medical advancements, and I think
Yeah.
it's time to bring something up because I think we need to apply some pressure to the Chad Proby's chest because he's got some bleeding. I'm noticing
really?
some bleeding and some sloughing and
I thought that was just a hazing process.
chafing. I don't go after the nipples though. I believe that your nipples are your own place and they
A
belong
man's
to you.
nipples is his castle.
A man's nipples are his winged helmet, if you were, and you leave
Aha.
that's his. You leave that alone.
You
You
the
don't
sacred
touch-
artifact that you,
You
do
don't
not
touch another man's winged helmet, is what I'm trying to say. But seriously, TCD. Wait, no.
TCP.
Thank you. TCP. Are you too many fucking alliteration here, man? Are you not suffering from a case of twisted nips?
I sure am.
I thought I can see it in a man.
I am. I will admit. Again, you're gonna hate me for it, but it's definitely the arrow this
I
week.
hate you already, so don't worry.
Yeah, I hate you for that.
Yeah, the arrow this week. It pissed me off. The Arrow and Felicity thing is giving me the shits, and the love triangle between
You mean
Felicity.
you mean Olicity? If you
Yeah.
you need to call it by its technical
Okay,
term.
Olicity and
Is it,
Raylicity.
Yeah, Relicity.
Relicity and Olicity triangle.
That's what they call.
That's what they can call it. That's not what we call
That's
it.
what they're calling it in Europe.
We
motherfucker.
call it farmer on this
Yeah.
show, son. Do your job right.
Know your role. Rule 1.
Do your job right, Proby.
Alright.
Hold on, I'll write it on the board.
Do
What is
your
it?
job.
Relicity
Olicity and
Olicity.
farmer.
and Froma.
Farmer. Felicity Palmer. Farmer.
Okay.
That's your go-to.
Alright.
So
Olicity
let's try this
Farmer.
again.
Okay, yep. The
So
Olicity.
what's twist? So I'll try this again.
Yep.
I'm going to start you from the beginning. You're doing well. You've done well this week so far. Don't feel too bad. I'm not going to we're not going to write you a warning. Okay? Your probation's intact. But
It's an informal version.
what is twisting your bat nips this week? TCP.
The Olicity Farmer love triangle?
Oh, yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. That is annoying.
It's fucking pissing me off. Not so much on Felicity's point. It's more the Ray and Oliver is annoying me. Oliver, you're a fucking man whore. Stick to one girl. Like, choose one girl out of this.
No, they keep dying.
This is true.
I mean, in fairness to him,
Laurel's
he's not
still
too
around.
timing. They keep dying, and then he just has to replace it.
I know,
Yeah,
but
like, they keep dying or turn gay.
He keeps coming up at the worst possible time to say that he still loves you. And he's done it with Sarah, he's done it with Laurel, and he's done it with Felicity. You know, just pick a woman, man, and just stick with it. Like, each episode is going... Like, there was that episode with fucking Slade, and he had to choose...
Shadow. Oh,
he had to choose which one he loved, and, like, it made it look like he loved Felicity, in which... So, apparently he does,
yes, I'm with you.
but he's still... You know, if Laurel dropped her dax and say, "Hey, big boy, come here," he'd be like there in a second.
He'd be
It's
totally.
just like
I just want to point out that there's nothing sexier than when a woman drops her dax.
well,
I prefer when I'm reading the highest quality of 50 Shades of Bane. The parts that get me the most moisture, it was at that moment I turned around and dropped my dax and said, "Hey, big boy, get that 13-inch rubber cock over here."
But you're missing my point. My point is... my point is like, just pick a love story and stick with it. At least Twilight could fucking choose...
Fucking Twilight!
At least Twilight, Bella could choose fucking Edward over fucking Idiot Peaches every day of the week.
Yeah.
But with Oliver, it's like he doesn't know who he loves. It's like one week it's Laurel,
I
the
think
next
it's
week it's
because
Sarah, the week before that it was Shadow, and then the week after that it's bloody Felicity.
I think it comes down to one thing. Fangirls.
Yeah.
They want to see the pretty blondes get together. That's just how that is, because fangirls. They are the Riddler of TV shows.
Fangirls.
Brayden loves him some fangirls.
Hey, bro.
Yes.
Let me ask you something. When these two start, like, prattling on about Twilight, is that what it feels like for you when I start talking about wrestling?
No. Them prattling on about Twilight is worse because I just dislike even the thought of Twilight. I can accept wrestling existing. That's fine. I'm just not into wrestling.
Okay, so we'll get it on record now. Can we use it as a point of reference for shit?
Twilight?
Yes.
Yes, you
Yeah,
can.
but you're not. You're using it as a point of reference for, like, oh man, if only
you're
they'd
saying
gone
Arrowhead
Twilight.
is better than fucking Twilight.
Oh, trust me. Like,
You-
now that
you're
I know
just-
this,
you're just
now
like,
that I know
oh,
this,
man.
future episodes we like laid
I
with.
tell
I'm going to do me some research.
I'm not saying that it's good in any way. I was just making a point that
Bella
they
is
can
my
stick
J-Law. That's the point I'm making.
I was just making a point of, like, at least a shit story can stick to one love story,
No, I think
whereas
yeah.
a
Well,
good
wasn't it-
story
Okay,
can't
but
stick to one.
what
fucking
you're
love
saying
story.
is ultimately what Arrow needs to lead towards is that Felicity and Ray have a baby, but it's okay because Roy will eventually be able to have sex with that baby. That's Twilight, if I'm not mistaken. So that's what you're telling me you want to see.
Or inversely proportional, Oliver is allowed to have sex with Ray's and Felicity's baby. Because
No,
because
Incest.
Anyway, I was just making a point, not to say that it was.
You're just making a point that Twilight is your favourite film. So going for what we're going on here, the official canon
No,
from the
there's no official.
Batcave is that the Chad Proby's favourite movie is Twilight, and that come the end of the year awards, your Cranston's going to Bella.
I'm gonna quit right now. Fuck this program shit. I'm done. See you later. Terry, you're walking home, bitch.
Sorry, just not to interrupt you there, but I think Braden has some shit he wanted to sling at you, and I'm never going to deny him that chance.
Alright.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Alright, well, has anybody else got any bat nips this week?
Nah.
No, that's it?
No.
Yeah, I'm good.
Alright, cool. Well, do we want to take a break before we get into the movie and the sack?
In that case, can we just cut out the whole bat nip section? I'll just fucking deny it.
No. That's
Alright, it's on record now. Your favourite movie
is
of
Twilight.
all time is Twilight, and your favourite band. Basically, I'm getting the
You're a
feeling
Christian-
Hang on,
Christian
no. Hear me out. This is his favourite movie, right? The Chad Proby's favourite movie coming in the summer of 2015 is from the director of Twilight, starring all your favorite characters in Twilight, in a sequel where they all have babies to have sex with them, and the entire score is by Nickelback. That's heaven, isn't it?
No, I'm not fucking saying anything to that. I deny it. No comment.
That's your Dawson's
No
Creek.
comment.
In fact, whenever he gets if he gets like really into something, we should have like the Twilight theme playing in the background.
I don't even know the Twilight theme.
I don't know
is.
either.
I just assume it's
Good, I'm glad.
So yeah, but no, I just assumed that the theme song for this Twilight Nickelback movie, I imagine the actual theme for Twilight is just, you know, wolves stealing babies, whatever that sounds like.
A dingo's got me baby.
Well, that brings us to the meat, the potatoes, the movie, the part where we get balls deep each episode. And this week, it's The Dark Knight Returns, Part 1.
And now for our feature presentation.
Tonight marks the 10th anniversary of the last sighting of the Batman.
All units, robbery in progress. Gotham City Trust.
They call us a gang. Only when they die by our hands will they know Gotham City belongs to the mutants!
What the hell is that?
Batman! Come out here and face me like a man! What's your name?
Carrie Kelly. Robin.
She's smart. Brave. She's perfect.
These are scary times, Bruce. It's just random violence.
The war goes on. I will tear him limb from limb!
He's in his prime. He'll kill you.
I will show you who rules Gotham City! I'm not finished yet.
You just crippled that man!
He's young. He'll walk again.
That's right, it's been a decade since Bruce Wong...
Bruce Wong.
Take two.
Damn it, the outro this week is me making a fool of myself.
Yep.
Finally.
You're bad at your job.
You're one, Glover.
That's right, it's been a decade since Bruce Wayne hung up his cape and cowl following most of the other superheroes who've been forced into retirement. Facing the downside of middle age, a restless Bruce Wayne pacifies his frustration with race cars and liquor. But the Bat still beckons as he watches his city fall prey to the gangs of barbaric criminals known as the Mutants. The return of Harvey Dent as Two-Face finally prompts Wayne to once again don the Dark Knight's cowl, and his dramatic capture of the villain returns him to crime fighting, simultaneously making him a target of law enforcement and the new hope for a desolate Gotham City. Particularly inspired is a teenage girl named Carrie who adopts the persona of Robin and ultimately saves Batman from a brutal attack by the Mutants' leader. Armed with a new sidekick and re-energized with a definitive purpose, the Dark Knight returns to protect Gotham from foes, new and old. And finally, in the last moments, in an incredibly heart-touching moment, the Joker's eyes flutter open at the name of Batman. He says the name, Batman, and the Joker wakes up. Gentlemen, the floor is yours.
I actually really enjoyed this one.
Wasn't talking to you.
He didn't say Proby.
Now, hang on. The Chad Proby, what would you like to say?
First of all, screw you. But thanks, Braden. At least I have your support. No, I actually really enjoyed it, and I thought it was quite cleverly done with the trying to find something to fill the void of being Batman, or no longer being Batman, with race cars and the adrenaline rush stuff.
Yeah, thrill seeking.
Yeah,
The thing that a true sociopath would fill their life with once they lose their sociopathic, like, suicidal tendency lifestyle makes perfect sense, you're right. I'm being serious. I'm actually
okay. I don't know if you're being sarcastic.
Textbook. I was being legit. Sorry.
But yeah, so
I was being legit.
That was good. You know, hitting the actual bottle, like he said.
Yeah.
You know, using the actual champagne instead of ginger beer or whatever, or whatever it was. I thought that was really cool. And I liked the struggle that Bruce was having with his Batman persona, like saying, you know, you're not done with me yet, and I'm not done with you yet, and then like you're never done with the Batman, or
what's your Batman? Your Batman for life, yo.
Yeah, pretty much. Yo with yo.
Yeah. Yo with.
Yo with
he donned the cow.
And yea, did he take the kickings to the punk asses
after 3 weeks of training.
And a bout of MS acid.
One thing I did like is that there was a couple of really subtle things that they put here and there that showed his age.
Yeah.
Like the first time he tried to climb the rope just with his hands and he couldn't, and then he was like had to like do the knot around his feet to push himself up. I thought that was really clever. And a couple other times where he was like, his actions were really slow. Like they were noticeably slower than normal.
Yeah, well, it should have been.
It was like when he was fighting with the leader, and then
the first time,
the first time, and he goes, "I need to be smarter about it."
Yeah,
he's just not as fit.
I'm not as fit. Yeah, that's right. I actually really enjoyed that. I thought that was really good writing in trying to pull the Batman out of retirement. I thought that was really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the opposite of what you would normally see. You normally see him starting out or something like that, and this is towards the end. You know, he's given it up, but he's not coping with it so well, so he goes back to it. You don't.
And he
I don't think I've really seen any other story that covers that sort of side of it. So I really enjoy that.
He sort of gets drawn into it because Harvey Dent's involved. I don't think if Harvey Dent was involved, then he probably wouldn't have come out as much. He would have been just like, yeah, we got the leader in prison, be done with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I quite enjoyed that.
I can see that. Badge, what do you got?
I've got to agree with the probester a lot on his points.
Don't do it too much. His head will get big.
It's the first time or second time this episode. No, I was kind of hesitant when I first saw it as a Frank Miller adaptation.
Yep.
And voicing by Peter Weller.
Robo-Bat.
Yeah, essentially it was Robo-Bat for me. But I have watched it a few times to sort of get my head around it and accept like the Batman is something that can be interpreted by any artist. So from that standpoint, I actually thoroughly enjoyed it as a movie. I liked the different villain, like the mutants and the concept of coming out of retirement. I like that. I like the fact that was the mutant leader, whatever his name is.
I think they just called him leader.
The leader.
Yeah.
Lovely. Yeah, I like the fact he had to sort of make those adjustments for the fact that he's old.
Yeah.
I don't like Carrie. I don't like her at all.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan.
I'm not a fan. I've got to remember which one's part 1 and part 2 because I watched them back to back the other day.
Anything with the Joker is part 2.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way to call it.
Yeah.
No spoilers for you, Matt.
Oh no,
the Joker's in part 2.
I saw that coming before. Like there was a couple of scenes where you saw.
And now he thinks he's better than me.
Clearly. What's the first rule? What is the first rule? Do I need to write them on the board? They're not on the board yet.
We will break him by the end of this episode.
You will.
I'm sorry for agreeing with the honey badger.
We're breaking it down to make you into Batman. Batman needs to. Why do we fall?
You don't need to tell
Why
me
do
to
we
fall.
fall?
I'm not going to pick myself up because you told me to.
If Batman tells you to pick yourself back up, do you know why? It's because he knocked you to the fucking ground. Now, Terry, what were you saying?
It's just this adaptation. It's really different to what I'm used to seeing through the animated movies I've seen. I'm not going to sit here and go through the comics because, let's be honest, I haven't read a lot of comics. Through the video games.
That's my job.
Yeah,
my job is to supply that.
You're a full-blown nerd.
Says the fucking dude who's like, oh, Bella and the glittering guy. You see that one where he didn't wear a shirt, then he turned into a werewolf, and they all have tattoos.
Do they?
You seem to know a lot more than he does.
Because it's on the fucking film posters, man. It's on the film posters.
Wow, I read a book. All of a sudden, I'm a fan. I've read the Quran. Does
Hey,
make me
cool.
Muslim.
Did you read all 4 parts of, like, all 4 versions of the Quran and then
Dude, I
go
don't-
see the movie adaptations?
I did. Mel Gibson did a wonderful version. It's his follow-up to... Anyway, no, as mainly the problem for me was getting my head around the Frank Miller adaptation of Batman. And him being old and all that sort of stuff. Because I like the idea of him being, you know, mid-30s, kicking ass, all that sort of stuff. Because that's what we grew up with. And then this is presented in a very different way. So there's parts of me that think, I wonder if how much of this is going to be influential on the new Batfleck film. So...
I think part 2 more will be.
Yeah, I agree. But
Yeah.
I like...
Although, with that said, we're not going to get Batman on the verge of retirement. We're just going to get Batman who's
Broken
like,
Batman.
I've been doing this, like, jaded Batman.
Yeah.
Like, kind of that
He'll be aged. He won't be coming out of retirement.
Yeah, it'll be he's still active, but he's
Yeah.
at that point where it's like, why don't you trust anybody? Because you haven't fucking seen what I've seen.
Yeah, I'm considering breaking someone's neck. But,
Yeah, it's like you're an overpowered alien. Like, I take out psychotic clowns and shit. You're not a problem for me. You're just something I need to eliminate.
Yeah, pretty
That's
much.
the Batman we're getting.
Yeah,
But sorry, continue.
So, like, that's what I'm actually kind of wondering is how much influence this, the Frank Miller style Batman will have.
I think it'll have a bit in probably the terms of the tone, but the actual Batman himself, you'll find will be.
See, if it's that tone, it's... I
No,
think
it'll be.
incredible.
It's I can't think of his name. It's Jim somebody. There's a writer, a Batman writer who did quite a bit, and
Okay.
that costume that they've got, that Frank Miller costume as it were,
Yeah.
that's the one he tends to write his Batman wearing.
Oh, okay.
And that Batman is that's the Batman that kind of fits into the are you dense, are you retarded? Once again, that's Frank Miller, but it's I think it's Jim Davis might be his name, or maybe that's the guy that does Garfield, and I'm getting confused.
That is.
Yeah, that is. Yeah. Anyway.
That's all.
Well, anyway, whatever the guy's name is.
Crossover.
Whatever the guy's name is, but yeah, his Batman is very, like almost Asperger's.
Yeah.
Like he's very much just like I'm Batman.
Screw you.
You feel like there's either you're either not a problem, or you're my problem, but there is no in between.
Yeah. So
That kind of
if
Batman.
we have that tone, I'm going to be very happy.
Yep.
But the animation style of this, for me, was very old school 90s. I don't know what year it was released. I don't have any information brought up in front of me. I'm a one globbing.
Oh, when was it? When the comic?
When the comic and
The comic set in the 80s.
Set in the 80s. But
It
when
is. It was released in the 80s.
Released in
Yeah,
the 80s. So that's probably why.
It's around the same. It's around the Cold War, basically.
Yeah, that reminds me a lot. That reminds me a lot of the.
'Cause Reagan's in the film.
He is. He's in part 2.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm getting confused. I just know it from the comics. I've got
Yeah.
the panel in my head that they pretty much replicate. But yeah, that's how you know it's in the 80s.
Yeah, so, I mean, I like the drawing style. I like the fact that he's got gadgets, but they're not over-the-top gadgets. It's like, literally, the Batmobile is a tank with a bat face.
Yeah. Jim Lee, by the way. Sorry to
Lee.
inject. Jim Lee.
Jim Lee. So there's a lot of stuff about this film that I do like. But at the same time, there was something that felt missing, and maybe it's because it was broken into two for me.
Well, I think the thing probably missing is villains, really, because we had the leader and we had the mutants, but the mutants were just, I don't know, they're all dumb and easily brainwashed.
They were pretty average, yeah.
That was shit.
They were pretty average. The leader, he was just a big dumb brute.
He was
got
shit.
beaten up. We had Two-Face in it, but I think the only reason Two-Face was in it was to show that, like he said, I am what I am, and you can't change it. And it was sort of to point this out that that's sort of the same for Bruce as Batman. You know, he's Batman. You can't change that. That's why he's back.
Yeah, well, okay, I'll give you, before I give you my thoughts on this film, I'm just going to give you a quick little tidbit on the difference between the comic and the film, and then we'll go from there. Now, in the comic, Two-Face's resurgent and bombing attempt occurred after the Joker had already emerged from his catatonic state. So basically, Two-Face takes place in the film before everything else happens. In the comic book, he's the mid part that bridges between the leader and the Joker.
Okay, yep.
So while the Joker's basically coming out of the coma and learning to walk, it's like, let's be real.
Yeah.
Two-Face is running amok.
Okay.
Now, here's my problem with this film, and I'm going to need to go to the profanity generator in just a moment for this. But a Batman film is only ever as good as its enemies, and the leader in this film was a full-blown anus blower. And let's face it, and his cronies were just nothing but an absolute batch of clit skanks. And that's a serious problem for me, because that how okay, so this is a Batman that ultimately is going to need to go on and fight the Joker and proper hardcore criminals, and he can't take down the big dumbass. And he's it's just like I liked parts of it. Don't get me wrong. Like I like Jim and Batman, or Jim and Bruce sitting down and having their conversation, and kind of, the whole, I can't believe you tricked me with a gruff voice, or, whatever the shit they're talking about.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that Bruce, without thinking it, he's subconsciously already become Batman, so he shaves.
Yeah.
And Alfred's like, when did you shave your mustache? And it's Bruce touches his face and, and in the comic he actually says, I didn't even realize I had.
Yeah.
And it's this beautiful, for me, that's the moment where it's like, yeah, because Batman's back in control.
Mm.
But, like I say, Batman's only as good as as his villains. And to me, the reason I don't like this film, and I'm going to go on record here, and when we get to the end and give our glove reviews, I think you'll actually be surprised by what I give this. But it's a nothing villain. Throughout this film, I never feel a threat for Batman, because I'm like, yeah, well, of course he's going to beat this. The dude's name is the Leader, and he leads a group of people named the Mutants. Wow, scary.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah, I mean...
They can't talk proper English.
Yeah, that's true.
Spud.
And can't come up with a plan or, be of use to anything ever.
But it's okay, because they're slice and dices.
Slice and dice.
There was something about, it was very, 80s, now that I look...
Just bringing back, smacking my head on the microphone when things are stupid.
Ah, excellent. Well, for me, it's sort of now that I've sort of you've confirmed that it was in a 1980s sort of style comment, the Mutants and the Leader. Maybe there was a whole cult thing going on.
I think it was at the time, because it was the time of nuclear power. You look at RoboCop, people are getting turned into mutants, and we have Ninja Turtle mutant. No, I'm talking. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I was you there.
Yeah.
Ninja Turtles, dudes are getting ooze, and that's what people are afraid of. So there was the
Toxic
mutants like that.
Avengers.
Yeah, Toxic Avengers. Yeah.
But for me, it's as I say, it's just, even if they are called the mutants, they're not mutated. They're just they're just dumbasses wearing backwards looking
Cyclops goggles.
They're fanny biters. That's what they are. and they just don't do anything of use in the story, so they're not a threat. Whereas the Joker coming out of a catatonic state, that's a threat. Two-Face was a threat, and that's why if Two-Face had been last, that would make more sense.
I mean, I kind of
But if you can dispatch Two-Face, and granted it's old Two-Face, but if you can dispatch Two-Face easily, you can take out a big fat dumbass that can't...
I kind of like it, because Two-Face for me always represented that, I think we covered this on, many, many episodes ago, in regards to Bruce still having that,
Batman and Robin we talked about. Well, Batman Forever, sorry. Batman Forever.
Friendship with Harvey Dent. And how he'll always go to Harvey Dent because he believes in the good. I like how...
He always wants to believe that Harvey can be redeemed.
And when Harvey's face was revealed to be matching, he goes, wow, they're matching. The two sides are matching. And for me, I never really made that assumption until I saw the scene where you never know which two sides are matching.
Yep.
Which I thought was great. I thought that was a great twist on that.
And I love the fact that the scarred side to him was the compassionate side.
Yeah. That's the weird thing.
The side that got destroyed is the side that makes him feel empathy for everybody else, but the clean side is the side that's rage-filled.
Yeah.
That was,
that's very 1980s.
what I mean. And that's why I say, I don't know if I said it on the air, I know I said it off air a few minutes ago, but to me, this film would be great at 30 minutes long.
Yeah, you said that earlier on. Yep.
It would be a perfect 30
As a build-up to part 2.
Yeah.
Yep.
In fact, if it was a two-hour job, where it was just him and Two-Face, and then him and the Joker, and you had the mutant thing was just long enough to introduce Carrie, and for him to kind of get drowned and resurrected and come back and beat up.
Yeah.
That's a better film.
Yeah. See, I mean, this is for me. I love this. I like this. I'll say it. I love this film because it's a group of scenes for me that I enjoy.
Yeah.
It's not a storyline that I enjoy. The scenes I like the final fight with the leader in the mud pit.
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, for me, him referring to himself as the surgeon and he's on a slab was, for me, that was you'd say that if you were Batman and your father was a doctor, you'd say that you were a surgeon and you're about to take apart someone. That's sort of the mentality that you'd have. That's sort of that kick in the moral gut.
Yep.
But it's just a bunch of scenes that are good for me, like the reintroduction of Batman dragging that dude through the glass pane of the door.
Yeah.
And for me, I never really associate blood with Batman, but then you look at the door and it's filled with blood and there's a blood trail. I thought that was phenomenal. So once again, it's just the scenes for me.
See, don't get me wrong. Batman, I really like Batman, and I get why they put Peter Weller in it. It's because he has that older sounding voice, but you believe Batman's going to be like human voices get deeper over time.
Yeah,
that's a natural growing thing. So I believe that a 6-year-old Batman will sound like that.
He'll sound like James Earl Jones eventually.
Yeah, I believe that. So don't get me wrong. Batman for me, Batman isn't the problem. That's what I mean by it's a solid 30-minute film. But Batman is only ever as strong as the villain.
Yeah.
And this, to me. And for me, particularly in films, I want to feel like the hero, and particularly in somebody like Batman, where it's like, well, he's Batman.
Yeah.
So you've got to make him challenged for me to actually think he's going to win, and the only moment that's challenging is the dude driving his head into the mud. That's it. Did Wells just beep in the background at me? Fuck you, Wells.
No, that was Earbud.
Very good.
Oh, no, Paradox. It's begun.
Yeah, no, Paradox.
Are the skies red?
Oh, no, Bloodshot.
But yeah, well, no, look, that's what I'm going to say. So, evidently you guys like this film, so I'm going to sit back for a little bit and let you guys talk about the things you enjoyed.
I've covered mine. So.
Yeah, pretty well covered it.
I'll pretty much covered mine as well. Again, this is coming from someone that hasn't got the comic background, so I'm watching it for just a purely entertainment value.
All right, well, may I ask you a question then, since you are the clean slate, as it were, the litmus test, if you will.
The TCP.
What do you think is coming next, Chad?
Well, what I was going to say before is
the Chad.
When I was
the Chad.
When I was watching it before,
the Chad was proby. The Chad was proby.
Do you love the Chad?
Please, can I finish?
Yeah.
Okay, I finished. What I was going to say is that when I was watching this one, I could see the Joker coming out before it confirmed that it was the Joker coming out. They're changing the channel and the wrestling on the armchair, and there was one scene where you saw the back of the head, and it's like, yep, that's definitely the Joker before anything else came out. And I'm like, okay, so this is building up to something. But I did like what they did. As I said, I'm more focused on the fact of Batman coming out of retirement and that struggle rather than the villain struggle.
Okay.
So the Batman was weak because the struggle between
I kind of
coming out of retirement, it's weakened him because he hasn't been training. He's not physically as fit anymore. His joints are seizing up from arthritis.
A lot more as well.
He's drinking a shitload more, so he's not.
So
fit.
he has become Iron Man.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the Dark Knight 1, where does that fit in the Iron Man scale? Is it Iron Man
2?
2.
So it's not as good as 3. Cool. Glad we know that now. Continue your story, Probes.
It's not as bad as 3. Wait.
The infinite battle. But yeah,
wait till 4 comes out. Me and Braden are literally for this trial. It's just like, fuck you! It had 3% better scenes. This was the Diet Coke of Iron Man.
It was Pepsi. It was Pepsi Max. Yeah. So it brought on, for me, it was more the struggle of Bruce and Batman rather than Bruce and Batman and the villain. Well, now that we've seen Batman come out, I don't think he's fully come out yet.
Yep.
I still think there's still part of Bruce that wants to retire and doesn't want to do this. And he'll get pulled back into being full-blown full-blown Batman when Joker comes out.
Yeah.
That's what I see. And and this is purely speculative. I haven't actually watched the second one yet for a reason.
Have popcorn ready.
Yeah. I haven't watched it for a reason because I wanted to review this one as its own, and then I can look back on it and go, all right, yep, I can see where Adam's coming from or whatever.
Yeah. Which would be the correct answer.
Yeah. Righto. Sorry. Sorry. Was it Jod?
Jod.
Yeah,
yes.
Jod. I'm the Jod of this podcast. This Jodcast, if you will.
No, we won't.
But yeah, that's basically what I pulled out.
Your probation next. Hey, Braden. Good work not being on probation.
Troubles in the ranks.
Man.
But yeah, anyway, that's my 2 cents worth, so I'm going to shut up and sit in my corner now. Thanks. Have a nice life.
And that, my friends, is the sound of not having a probie whinging anymore. It's pure silent bliss.
That's good. It's only taken about an hour for him to learn. Oh, that's good.
Like I said, this is it. That's quicker than the GIMP.
Yeah,
He was dense.
he was retarded.
He was not the goddamn Batman.
I'm so glad he finished that off.
So, Braden, any final thoughts on TDR Part 1?
No, I don't think so. I think we've all brought up some pretty good, valid points, actually.
Any thoughts on the TCP Part 1? That's right, the Chad Probie Part 1.
The Chad Probie.
Any thoughts on the Chad Probie?
I actually really like to hear the fresh perspective there. That was good.
He's such the mother hen, isn't he? Like, he's a good judge on Australian Idol.
I do, though,
I really enjoyed your
Braden the mother hen
costumings.
heard.
Your costume was really good, and you put full effort into that one. I could see you
Whereas
practice in front of the mirror.
Whereas you're like, how dare you copy this man's style?
I
And the
wore a
world
suit.
hate-
I wore a suit once. Now you're wearing a suit, and you parted your hair on the left. That's clearly me.
And
You've got long hair and a beard, you copycat wannabe.
Braden has a beard.
Leave Braden out of this.
Leave
Look,
Braden alone.
he's turned on you, Braden. He threw you under the bus first chance he got.
He's done a Laurel.
Look at that. The Chad Probie shows his true colours. He's out for himself. You're a vigilante. You, Mr. Probie, are not a hero. You're a villain.
You have failed this podcast.
Jodcast. Thunk, thunk. But
Well,
seriously,
fuck.
we jest because we don't like him. Moving on.
Awesome.
Cool.
It's alright. You've got a face only a mother could love, and even then she was like, "Can I get a refund?"
Biting my tongue. Biting my tongue.
See, I want to turn him into like the guy that turns to the bad side, but we don't know, and then eventually he's
so
like,
actually-
"Fuck you guys."
It's alright. It's alright. You're turning to me to set up the soundboard for next week. Have fun with that.
Fine, he'll go off and make his own podcast with blackjackers and hookers. All about Marvel.
Well, I figure that because he's our Probie, which makes him kind of our Roy, that all I have to do is just leave him lying in a puddle somewhere.
And I'll be better next week.
Yeah, next week you come back and you'll be like, "I learned my place. I'm going to be a better fighter.
Yeah.
I now know how to jump off of buildings."
And I'll take the fall when I have to.
Yeah. And plus you'll get to have sex with my sister, which I don't have a sister, but my brother, I guess.
Yeah, no.
One of them has long hair. It's fine. It's either him or him.
Oh, Terry. Really? We had to go there, didn't we?
All right, that brings us to the ratings for this week. So let's hand out some Cranstons, let's hand out some Barbaras, and let's talk what size gloves are fitting who. All right, look, we'll throw him in the hot seat. Probester, what do you
Um,
Who's your Barbara? Let's go with that first.
Oliver.
Oh.
That's the second week in a row for you, isn't it?
Yeah. No?
I reckon you've given him out. I reckon you've given Ollie a Barbara before. I reckon you have.
Maybe.
Possibly. We'll check.
We'll check.
check.
I can't.
We need to keep a tally of these Barbaras.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll write him up for the year-end awards.
That's one of
But
Brady's
yeah.
jobs.
Yes. Yes, it is.
High five.
So I have to now go back through all the episodes and
From the beginning.
from the beginning.
I would
Including
think
the
I would think there would
3
be
hour
research that you would want to go back and listen to every episode to make sure
Maybe
that
I have
you,
already.
that you fit. But have you made a list of the Barbaras and the
No.
Cranstons? Then you're not a dedicated
bother
hardcore fan. If you were into this, you would
If
have
you
come
were
in with.
Filippo, you would know
yeah,
these
yeah,
things.
exactly. In Italy, they know. In Italy, it's in their constitution, Amendment number 247. You will know every winner of a Cranston off by heart. And if you ever get to win a Cranston, you'll become a hero in your city for that day. And that's why, if you go back, I gave my Cranston to Filippo a few weeks back. It's Filippo Fredi Day in Italy. Today, I believe.
Okay.
They've decided because we've got Good Friday,
Maybe
then
I
we've got
don't.
Filippo Fredi Day.
Maybe I don't
and
want a
then
TCP
Easter
day.
Sunday.
Maybe I don't want a TCP day.
We're not saying you'll get a Cranston in Italy.
Yeah, I'm not
Well,
gonna.
that's
What
it.
am I giving you a Cranston for? They get given out for excellence.
You just need to get through your probation.
Yeah. They're not
Anyway.
handed out for probations, otherwise they'd be the... What was
Yeah,
that?
probie
Jensen
of the year.
Ackles? What was his name? Was it Jensen Ackles?
Nah.
It'd be the... no, you know what it'd be? If it was handed out for just probies, it'd be the Ezra fucking Miller Award. That's what
Ezra
it'd
fucking
be.
Miller Award.
Oh, great.
The Ezra... Actually,
I'm
there we
just gonna
go. The
email
Ezra
this.
fucking Miller Award for when somebody needs to get put back on probation.
Either that, or we give that could be a new award for bad casting. Possibly, I think.
Actually, no, I think the Ezra fucking Miller, this will be a sneak peek towards far at the end of the year, but the worst awards, the end of the year, we're going to give out the Ezra fucking Miller Awards,
Yep.
which get given to the worst of whatever section. So it's beyond even
So
a Barbara.
it's a secret tally.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? It's like the Oscars, but less politics.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And
Fantastic.
Proby doesn't get a vote.
Ah, fantastic. He doesn't get a vote. Women get votes before probies.
Well, Proby he's only had 1 month of suffrage, so he doesn't earn the right to vote yet.
Anyway, so Ollie gets your Barbara.
Ollie gets my Barbara.
Who gets your Cranston?
Well, hang on, why?
Wait, yeah, why?
Again, he bitched out. It's too hard. It's too hard. So I'm just
Oh,
going to
with
hand
the
myself
ladies?
in. No. With just it's too hard. I can't fight this guy. I'm just going to turn myself in.
But wasn't that the stalemate? So that because the options are either do what Ra's al Ghul says or stalemate, or do what Ra's al Ghul says. Whoa, what am I doing? Do what Ra's al Ghul says, or put myself in prison and basically say fuck you.
But he's been through that before, and he got a pep talk from pretty much everyone in the Arrow Cave, and he said, "Yeah, you're right. We can do this shit." And then did a little dance on the top of the building this week, and then failed that, and go, you know what? All right, you can have me. I'm done. It seemed like a bit of a cop out.
Okay, I can see that. I can see that. Okay. So well, look, we're doing the Barbaras. So let's pass this across. Throw this across to the fastest man in his room. And Braden, what do you got?
I actually have a few Barbaras.
Multiple Barbaras. Bloody hell.
Hey?
Multiple Barbaras.
Well, multiple Barbaras. Actually, my first Barbara is more just wasn't really. Two people. These Barbaras weren't really Barbaras. They were more just Barry Allens because they're only wearing one glove.
Okay.
And it actually goes to the Argus agents who bust into May's house.
Yes.
And shoot off shots at
so-
nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the question I asked
Bad
when they
shots.
walked in was, "What the fuck are they shooting at?"
Yeah. I know, that was my favourite when there's one who swings in through the window, it lands his feet on the windowsill, and then just apparently proceeds to shoot the kitchen floor as the only angle I can take from that bullet. As he walks in, it's like, what? Nobody's shooting back at you. Like, what are you doing?
Take your time. 2 adults and a
So-
kid. It should be hard.
So my next Barbara, so as we've established in this episode of Arrow, it starts about 2 seconds after the last one finishes. And in the last one, where Ray and Felicity were having a little tiff, and Ray mentioned that he thought that she might be his, I can't remember the exact term, but it was something along the lines of life partner.
His pink eye.
And she got all wet in the pants and come to him later and was like, "You said something about being your partner?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then in this episode, when he said, "I love you," she bitched out.
Yep.
That's a Barbara Gordon.
Yeah, no, that is.
Oh, yeah, that's a Barbara
that is
Gordon.
the definition of
That's
I'm
a
pretty sure
Barbara Gordon.
If we check the Oxford Dictionary of Podcast References, that is the definition of
Yeah,
Barbara.
I actually have that here. I have the Jodcast Bible.
Yes.
And it says that the definition of a Barbara Gordon is when a woman acts completely unlike a civilized woman ever would, and in fact could probably be called a granny glob.
What the fuck's a granny glob?
It's a Barbara. Barbara's a granny glob.
Okay.
When you look at it, you're just
Granny.
like, look at this granny glob.
So, yeah, you just gotta check the thesaurus for that.
Yeah, the thesaurus will tell you
Thesaurus.
other synonyms such as weenie diddler or schlong-stain.
Wow.
So, Terry, who you got for your
Well,
Barbara this week?
Final Barbara, my main
Jesus,
Barbara.
how many Barbara? This is 3.
This is my, I said 3 Barbaras.
Yeah, you've had. Oh, yeah, right, go on.
Yeah. Final Barbara, my main Barbara,
My main
goes
Barbara.
to... this is my main Barbara.
Is this kind of like your bottom bitch?
This is like a Barbara crossed with a one glover. This
Is
one.
this your basic Barbara?
This is your basic Barbara?
Yep. And it goes to John Diggle.
Ooh.
I'm sorry.
Because...
No, I'm sorry.
Sorry,
No. You were going to agree with me. You were going to agree with me.
I don't know about that. You're speaking ill of the digs.
I am speaking ill
As
of
we
Diggs
know from
because
previous
he
episodes, I identify with Diggle. So you better watch your step.
Alright, well, tell me this. Why, when they were going to the rooftop, and he said, hey Diggle, you go up top, why the fuck didn't he say, hey Ollie man, there's a lot of cops coming. I think it might be a trap.
Because I don't think he can see that corner of the building. Like, theoretically, he's up high,
They'll
but I
come
think...
from fucking, if there's a fucking helicopter.
A Black
You didn't see the
Hawk?
helicopter? Come on. There was cop cars, and
He
fucking
was also,
helicopters, there was
but, okay,
SWAT, there was-
playing devil's advocate, he also was out of radio contact while he was getting the car and all that sort of shit. How do you know he didn't see the helicopters and was like, oh fuck, I know it's going down, I'll get the car, and get shit organised?
Like a good black.
I think Diggle was smart enough to go, alright, I'm not
'Cause-
going to chill here because it's out of radio contact, so
I'm
looking
just
will
gonna,
do
I'm
nothing.
just gonna throw it onto you though, but don't forget, Diggle's not superpowered, so he didn't jump down inside the building. Diggle would have taken the stairs, so in the time for it took him to get to the car while the other idiots jumped off the building, that would be about right.
But at the same token, Braden, like, you can't use a spotlight as the only identifier for a helicopter's there. Like, you can hear those
You
fucking
can hear
things.
the fucking thing.
So, theoretically, regardless of whether Diggle told him or not, Ollie should have been able to go, hang on, there's a fucking helicopter above my head. And
You don't know that the police only has the highest levels of silenced helicopters? What do you, like, this is Starling City, where, like, they have crazy ass dudes sieging the place every couple of months.
As soon as they turn on the light, all of a sudden the helicopter's not silent anymore.
Well, it's not cloaked when the light's on. Is it, dumbass? I mean, that defeats the cloaking purpose. So they turn the cloak off.
Nah, I'm sorry, but Diggle disappeared when he was supposed to be doing a fucking job. Barbara Gordon.
Whoa. Well.
Well, on that bombshell, Terry, what have you got?
I'm gonna have to agree with Brett. No, I'm just kidding. I ain't gonna do that. I love Diggle too much. He could bitch out in the biggest way, and I'll be like, nah, Diggle's
Diggle could kill Oliver, and I'd be like, it's fine.
That's fine. Black Green Arrow. It's fine by me. Barbara...
Diggle.
No, I wouldn't be
I
Diggle.
must become the same guy. The same guy. Nobody knows who I am because being black is the ultimate disguise. Wells. He's disguising himself as Wells. Somebody was doing that. Somebody was going off there. I heard maybe that was Wells in a new upgraded Batmobile.
No, the helicopter turned its spotlight on.
Bazinga. No, for me, my Barbara goes to Lance. I am just tired of Lance. Just die.
He's put the Laurel pants on.
He has. In fact, he has been a snot donkey about the whole vigilante thing because basically everyone knew the information before he did. Poor little Lance. I'm a captain now. I don't give a shit, Lance. You're acting like a bitch. Ollie has made your job 10,000 times easier for a season and a half. And you're being
I'm
a
pretty
bitch.
sure that's how they refer to it in Starling City. Well, it's been a season and a half since the Arrow was here.
Alright.
Yoeth,
Oh,
2
hold on.
seasons and a halfness have passed.
Hold on.
And yet still the crop does not grow.
Okay, hold on. Alright, so they go into cryo once a week as well.
Tuesday.
So yeah, so that's so we've had 20. I'd say for a good solid month of Wednesdays.
Fuck off, Wells.
Mega Wells, he's mad. You know the secret about cryo, and now he's coming to get you.
So for a month of Wednesdays, Arrow's done basically Lance's job for him, dropping off the criminals nice and neat, tied up, confessions and everything at his back door. No, you know about my daughter's death. I'm going to bitch out. Screw you. I'm going to be the man I always wanted to be. You're dead in a season. Just do it already. So, Lance, you get my bitch.
Yeah, I reckon he'll be dead this season. He's
I
gonna die.
reckon they're going to stretch it out. Because technically...
He's going to die redeeming himself to save Ollie. That's how he's going to die.
Everyone... Starling City just gets wiped out redeeming Ollie.
Yeah.
It'll be the first episode of season 4.
Yeah.
All right,
So
well,
Lance gets my Barbara.
No, that brings me on to my Barbara, and I am giving mine to a gentleman by the name of Captain Lance, because he punched Oliver while he was in custody like a complete bitch and in complete disregard of... I don't have a problem with... I understand a lot of things, but when you've read somebody their Miranda rights and then you punch them and say, you've got the right to remain quiet, I suggest you take it, or remain silent, I suggest you take it. It's like...
After asking a question.
Yeah, it's like, no, you just want an excuse to hit him, and you're saying that this is all not because of your kid and whatever, and it is. You're letting your personal feelings cloud what should be professional judgment, which is bad enough. But yeah, I have a serious problem with police corruption. It's one of the reasons that I'm becoming a criminologist, is because I fucking hate it. And seeing shit like that on my TV just makes me angry. Because as much as it might be a realistic portrayal of a hurt father and probably a realistic portrayal of an American cop, don't perpetuate it.
Yeah.
There's no need for it. If he had simply said, you know, what makes you think that you know what's best for my family, and Oliver had said, I love your family, and Lance had just launched straight into that, like, you're not a hero, Mr. Queen, you think you're a hero, but you're a villain, and you know it. That would have been a hell of a lot more powerful than a hit.
Yeah.
Just saying that directly to him and having Ollie just have to sit there and take it, then having Ollie say, just ask me your questions. Because that to me would hearing that line, I was like, whoa, that cut.
You could even go as far as to say, Ollie, you're bad at, oh, not you're bad at job, but Oliver, you failed the city.
Yeah.
That would crush Oliver.
Yeah, that would, if he had said you're a villain and you have failed this city.
Yeah.
That would have been like, yeah, perfect. Absolutely. And then especially if he said that, like, hit that, and you saw Oliver's reaction to it, then Roy does what he does.
Yeah.
It's even more powerful, particularly when straight away Lance would be like, your word obviously carries as much worth with them as it does with me.
Yeah.
But yeah, he basically, like, the problem that I have with this is that they're clearly making Lance Jim Gordon. And when Barbara got shot in the spine, Jim didn't blame Batman and turn around and be like, well, Bruce Wayne, you're fucked now.
Yeah.
He was like, man, this shit's fucked up.
Yep.
The Joker's fucked, and all of this is just a pile of shit, and I'm glad I have you to actually control this.
Yeah,
because as much as he makes sense with the whole, we didn't have this problem until you put on the mask, yeah, you did. You actually would have all been wiped out in the reckoning.
Yeah.
Because Oliver stopped the plan that was already in motion.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's my bad bitch for this week. So for once we're on the same page.
I would high five you, but
it's
too
far
away.
to reach. All right, well that brings us into the Cranstons for this week. So, Proby Dan, Proby Wan. What have you got?
Isn't that from
Proby
NCIS?
one shit.
I don't know. I'm just making up words.
Proby 1 Kenobi.
Proby 1 Kenobi, Proby San.
Cranston. I'm probably going to have to go with Barry. For him... No.
I'm listening. What? Is everybody's got it?
Who are you going with?
Barry.
Bowser Alice.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's turned to Joe and said, look, I think there is something wrong with Wells. And you were right all along. And I should have listened to you, the father figure that I've like held high for so long.
Wells isn't happy with his answer.
Wells isn't happy with it. But yeah, I reckon like he's sort of like, no, we need to investigate this, but on a down low.
Yeah.
So
his character's changed a lot as well, just in the last few. He's got a lot dark, which I like. Because at the start he was sort of very happy-go-lucky, laughing all the time, and it sort of changed the whole sort of feel of the show. Well, and I like that. I agree with you.
Yep. Poor downtrodden white man with superpowers.
It's a real first world problem we can all understand.
Yeah.
That's not a bad answer. Not a bad answer. We'll throw it over to Melbourne and see what... I think now he's the second fastest man in the room because Wells has obviously...
He's upgraded.
Gone in there in a faster wheelchair. But Bray, what do you got?
I'm going to have to give it to Mr. Mark Hamill. I just loved his performance in that show. And I'm going to have to credit a lot of people of the show as well. I loved the throwbacks and the little things from the original series. That was great. I loved a lot of his little one-lines, like when he was talking about doing his ultimate trick. He goes, "I'm going to make it my Breaking Bad season 5."
Yeah, kayfabe went right out the window.
They gave me cable so I'd stop killing the guards.
I love that one of my favourite lines that he said, aside from the "I am your father" part, was when he was saying, "You've got to catch this guy so you can cut off his head and throw it in his face."
Yeah. That is actually like, yeah, I paused there and like, that makes no sense.
Yeah.
Why you do this, Mark?
I love that.
Just going back to the episode just quickly, because I realised something I forgot to bring up. I like the fact that it was the trickster that had the bracelet and not Reverse Flash, because it makes more sense to be a trickster device. Sorry, I just wanted to interject with that since we're talking about the amazingness of Mark Hamill. Give his props now. Braden, please continue.
But I loved him in the 90s, and I loved him now. It was great. It was a beautiful performance.
So you've loved him from the 70s on, basically. The 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s,
Well, I
all the
wasn't
classic
born in the
hits of
70s,
today.
so...
Oh, so you're not as old as the Probster?
I'm not as old as you fuckers.
That's right. I think Pravy was born in the 50s.
50s.
That's alright, if the Dad Night keeps running...
the hell?
Now that he rubs his feces on the wall.
That'd make me like 16 years younger than my mother.
Well...
Paradox. Are you Barry Allen? You're your own father?
No, I wear 2 gloves, remember, from last promo?
That's true, you've learned. Good work.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, you were
you're
knocked out. In fact, I think you were still knocked out this afternoon.
No, that's a good choice, Braden. I agree with that. Mark Hamill really did do a tour de force in this. Alright, well, T-Dogs.
I'd have to say Roy. His last couple of episodes have been quite impressive, but for me it's the last 5 minutes of this episode particularly, because they're all standing in the arrow cave or the quiver or whatever you want to call it. And everyone's like, what's the plan, what's the plan, what's the plan? And no one's got any fucking clue. Not even Diggle. Not even our normal Cranston, our standing Cranston had no clue.
Our standard bearer.
Here's our flag bearer. So basically, neck minute, you've got Roy jumping on top of the police van, dressed as the Green Arrow, doing Oliver's flip off of it, with his voice modulator, dressed as Ollie, says, well, you got the wrong guy. I'm the Green Arrow. Whoop. What you got now? So for me, that's taking one for the team, Mark 1.
He sort of feels like he needs to be punished as well, as he was saying earlier in that episode.
He still feels like from killing the cop.
Yeah, so that I think that for him is actually like, he was actually saying like from killing the cop and all that episode, he goes, oh, you know, I shot a couple of cops, but they're only flesh wounds, it's okay. So he's sort of like reassuring himself.
Yeah, he's
But
good.
Yeah.
I think he's
Post-traumatic stress.
Yeah.
This show is just, like I'm telling you, all these superhero movies, for the most part, The Flash not so much, but they mostly just, this is how you deal with post-traumatic stress if you're a sociopath.
become a vigilante. Yeah, so Roy is getting my Cranston. And the fact he nailed Thea. So that's...
Good answer. Good answer.
Mark Hamill for me, I didn't go for Mark because I kind of expected this from Mark Hamill. He's like, he was the trickster 20 years ago, so I was like, well, he's going to do a damn good job.
Just putting the old comfortable shoes back on.
Yeah, no, it's nice for the die-hard fans like myself that's seen one episode of the 90s Flash. But yeah, I kind of expected it from Mark Hamill.
So another one coming out of retirement this week. Another person coming out of retirement for this week.
Oh, cool.
No, as in...
Coming out of trickster retirement, not coming out of retirement.
What?
Braden, you just stop. Let the Probie have at least one moment per show.
Fuck it. Yeah, I'm done. Just kick me while I'm down.
Hey, I
put
was
me
agreeing
in the
with
corner
him
and
before,
spank me
he
blue.
threw me under the bus.
3 under the Wells wheelchair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I got to give it a Cranston, and I'm going to give mine this week. Not so much to a character, to an actor. My Cranston this week goes to one Mr. Tom Cavanagh, simply for one scene and one scene alone, and that is in the car after it's been flipped over when he's frantically screaming for somebody to save his wife before she dies, and can't you see that she's dying? Because he doesn't sound like Wells or anything like that. He just simply, he sounds like, he sounds terrified, and it's rare to see actors get that level of scared on the screen. So he gets mine, and I think I'm going to have to go with Braden here and give out a half a Wells as well, because I think we're going to see more of this as it goes along. But my what's that?
Never mind, sorry.
My half a Wells goes to the gentleman who played the Reverse Flash, or Eobard Thawne in the start, not just for his amazing portrayal of the cold, calculating psychopath, but also because he emulated the way Tom Cavanaugh talks. Didn't match his pitch, but he matched his cadence down to the way he says Eobard, the way he says Harrison Wells, things like that. He emulated the way Tom Cavanaugh speaks. And that to me was perfect because when Tom Cavanaugh was talking as Wells, he sounded enough like Wells that you know it's the voice, but he was faster. He was talking faster. So for me it's like, wow, the actor listened to how Tom Cavanaugh does his current Wells voice, mapped his voice based on that, and then Tom Cavanaugh has like inceptioned his own voice, gone backwards and gone, okay, well, Eobard is going to obviously be somehow emulating, well, not emulating Wells as much as pitch, but it's going to be his own voice. I need to change my voice again so that I can sound like a different Wells.
Yeah.
That to me is like just different levels of excellence. So those are my Cranstons for this week.
Cool.
So yeah, and that brings us up to the rating system. So what's everybody given? What do you got? Give me all in one hit, boys. What do you got? Flash, Arrow, and the movie for this week. And we'll start once again with the Honey Badger Terrionian.
5 for Flash. 4 for Arrow. I'll give 3 for the movie. It was good. I enjoyed it, but didn't enjoy it as a whole movie. I loved it as scenes. If that makes sense.
Yes, I can understand that. Okay. What you got, Probst?
I'm gonna go 4 for
Jeff Probst.
4 for the Flash. 4 for the Arrow. But I'm gonna go 5 for the movie because I actually really enjoyed that movie this week.
Wow.
Cool.
He's coming into his own. Our boy's growing up. Braden, what do you got?
I'll go 3 gloves, 4 fingers for Arrow. 4.5 gloves for Flash. And I'll go 3 gloves for our movie, I think.
Oh, good answers. Good answers. All right.
I'm glad we have your approval on our ratings. You enjoyed this just enough, gentlemen. Thank you.
I'm gonna start with the movie. I'm gonna go reverse order this week. The movie, 1 glove, 2 fingers.
Yep.
Like I say, I've said everything there is to say about it. Just good 30 minutes.
Yep.
Solid opening 30.
Solid poo.
Yeah.
Solid poo.
Then I'll move on to Arrow. I'm going to go with Braden. I reckon that's around the 3-3. 3-3 this week. That's pretty good. And finally, I'm moving on to the Flash, and I've had to invent a new rating system for this one. I'm now giving out what I call it's the rarest of all. Not even the Return of the Incredible Hulk Returns got this.
Is it the both gloves?
It's the Golden Glove.
Whoa.
The Golden Glove. Whoa.
And the Golden Glove goes to the Flash episode 17 Tricksters because, like I said, 5 viewings in, I'm still sitting there like, this is fucking phenomenal.
So you've basically given him the Nintendo Power Glove.
Yeah.
That is yeah. Yeah, it's given you
I've given you the only glove that you could go into a crime scene with 1 glove, and people would be like, understandable, it's the Golden Glove. You don't need another.
You don't need to touch anything. It's actually just. It's
yeah, well, no. If what happens is you go into the crime scene and hold the Golden Glove, and evidence is like suction towards it
onto an LCD on the side. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you do me a favour? You know how you're angry all the time about Barry not wearing a glove?
I'm angry about a lot of things, but yes, that's one of them.
So I'm trying to remember. I think it was 16 where he's gone back in time, and yeah, it was the episode before this. Can you go back to the coroner scene and look who else is lifting up the coroner's shirt without a glove?
Joe?
Yes.
Yeah, but Joe's not... Hang on. I will defend that because Joe's just a dumb cop. Joe's not the lab technician. Joe's not the forensics guy. He's just cop dude. You're a dumb cop. I expect you to you go onto crime scenes and be all like, duh, I'll just pick up sheets. But if I walk in 1 glove and I'm all like, look at this sheet.
That's if I let you in the crime scene.
You're not going to have a choice to let me in the crime scene.
I'm going to be commissioner, motherfucker.
I'm going to be mayor.
Mayor! You know what? Terry's going to be the one that puts down the little yellow tags with numbers on it, saying this is evidence number 18, this is evidence number 19.
Yeah.
And you'll be the one, Adam will be the one glove and go, I'll just pick up the blanket with my ungloved hand. This is evidence number 20.
I'll put them all in reverse order or something like that, just to fuck with Adam.
They'd take a shit somewhere and put a number on it.
Right, I'm Batman with it.
Just leave a batarang at a crime scene just to see, or a green. I'll leave a batarang, a green arrow, a red arrow.
How is that going to be a confuse? Like, literally, I love the idea that you, the future of law enforcement, have that, hey, if I just leave 3 random things sitting here, no crime, like, scene analyst worth their salt is going to walk in and be like, well, these are superfluous because they mean nothing to the fact that there's a dude lying in blood with, like, a garroted neck around his head's been hacked off with clearly this machete covered in blood and the killer's fingerprints. But over on the other side of the wall, leaning up against the room, there's leaning up against the wall, there's a red arrow, a green arrow, and a batarang. So now I just don't know what to think. I guess I just need to take my glove off and go home.
All I was picturing is just you with the shit with the number on it. Is you looking through a fucking microscope and going, wait a minute, this is Terry.
Yeah, well, I do know the molecular makeup of Terry's shit because it dribbles out of his mouth every fucking week.
Well, we know what dribbles out you, so...
Yeah,
taint dripping. Yeah.
Hey, people don't know about taint dripping, so I think
You
Matt...
it's a secret ingredient.
No, hang on. Matt, it's your job as not only the probie extraordinaire, but also as my life chronicler, to explain to the people at home what exactly taint dripping is and how it can be turned into taint gravy. Come on.
I don't know what it is. I need to be...
Brayden needs to be informed. Taint dripping.
Taint being the fleshy fun bridge that is between the anus and your ball sack. And so you have...
That's your gooch.
Yeah, the taint.
Just to preface this, the initial conversation was started by one, a honey badger terrier Neil, with the question being, what smells worse, butt sweat or ball sweat?
I actually said, what do you reckon is worse?
I think I actually brought it up by talking about anus sweat. Yeah. And then we were sort of going on along the lines of, well, what would smell worse, anus sweat or ball sweat?
Neither is the answer.
And that's correct. Neither is the answer. Because it's when those two beads of sweat slightly roll down the
David Attenborough film.
The underside of your
beads
taint.
Rolling down
and it marinates in its own juices while you're sweating, and then forms this
gelatinous,
superfluous. Okay. This superfluous. It covered again, didn't it? No. Cool. Just bead of sweat of both anus and ball that makes this disgusting, pungent smell.
And then, like I say, you mix that with a little bit of flour.
And you're good to go.
Got yourself some gravy.
Yeah.
So that's taint sweat for you.
That's taint drippings and taint gravy. And for those of you at home, that's how you can make your own taint gravy. Don't think this is not like KFC where there's a secret recipe.
You don't even need to go and buy the ingredients. You don't.
We need flour. You gotta have something to mix it so it goes
True.
True. Could have
Sorry.
some. I mean, because if you are making your own taint gravy, you need to see a doctor if it's actually coming out as gravy, because there's probably a leak somewhere.
That's probably just a bit of leakage if it's coming out as gravy.
And then if you eat too much curry, would you have this curry taint flavoured sweat?
I guess you would.
That's a deep.
That's something only science can answer, I feel. So we'll get Ray Palmer. Maybe that's how Ray Palmer got the pink eye. He had some curry taint gravy, rubbed it in his eye.
So curry for dinner next week, probably?
Yeah, definitely. Totally. Hit me out with a nice spicy vindaloo.
I'll go Rogan Josh.
Yeah, beautiful.
Drippin' Josh.
Rogan Chad.
Fuck.
All right, and that brings us to our final segment for the week. The segment where we empty out all the goodness from the bat sack.
We're in that location.
Now, I'll start off with mine before we get into the big question for yours. You recap your question in a sec. Okay. I'll jump into mine and then we'll answer this and we'll go back into your question.
Yep,
so, my question comes from Pseudonym from Nimbin. That's a real place. I looked it up on the map. I went to the thesaurus first, but in the thesaurus was not map locations, as it turns out. You need a thing called an atlas.
Atlas.
But I opened up my atlas, And in my atlas, I found...
The taint.
Yeah, I found the taint of the world, and it was Nimbin. So that's where the world's taint gravy comes from, is Nimbin. Where Pseudonym lives. And Pseudonym has written in and asked me, hey... Yeah, Red Thunder. I don't know why I left it. She put in a lot of dots. I think she talks like Christopher Walken. I don't know. I thought she removed a whole lot and put just an ellipses there. I'm not sure which. Anyway, hey, Red Thunder. Let me ask you a question. Yeah. Do you think that since this week we saw Diggle carrying a gun and wearing a leather jacket and using a sniper's rifle, that he will in fact become the next Deadshot? Thank you very much for all the funniness, and congratulations to Matt for joining the crew.
Cool.
Pseudonym.
Thank you very much.
See, I think...
Hang on, I got a PS here that I want to add for myself. PS, shut up, Proby. No, sorry, Braden, you were saying.
So I think Deadshot probably has a good idea on how to use a radio, so probably not.
He's holding a grudge this week, man. Man, he's got some Wells anger happening here.
He's wearing both boxing gloves today.
What do you reckon, Probes?
No, he won't.
You reckon he'll become Deadshot?
No, I don't think so.
See, here's the reason I could kind of see that. We talked about how last week they killed off a white guy being Deadshot. Now there's a black guy. Now we've got a big black guy playing Deadshot in the film. We've got a big black guy who doesn't have a mask in the TV show. I'm just saying. I could see them being like, Hollywood's pretty racist, and there's only one black guy in this show, so I think they'll just be like, will they really know the difference?
Well, the thing is, I actually literally think David Ramsey is bigger than Will Smith. He's at least 2 door frames wider than Will Smith. In fact, he's 2 doors wider than most people in Starling City. So, I mean, I can see them doing it just for the fact of going, wow, we're getting heaps of backlash from, like, proper nerds.
Yeah, but
I like the Deadshot character. It was great.
I like the Deadshot character. I do think, though, the reason it won't happen, real talk, the reason it won't happen, is because they're not allowed to use Deadshot anymore because that's Will Smith's character.
Well,
real talk.
So you know what I really hope? I like that. I don't like that theory in this sense, but you know where I would like that theory?
If it was a green powering instead of a...
No. I'm talking about the theory that they can't use...
You're absolutely right that Diggle should become Green Lantern. Okay, we shut the case. Perfect.
I'm talking about the theory that they can't have the character in TV and in movies.
Yeah.
Where that theory would work very well for Ezra fucking Miller. Kill him off.
I'm going to
kill him off now.
Maybe that... Hang on. I just sorry, before you interrupt. I do have a theory that the DC films are leading towards the Crisis, because they've dropped little hints about who they're... Like, one of the characters who's completely off the table for TV is Ted Cord the Blue Beetle, who is pivotal in the second Crisis. And so for me, I'm looking at going, okay, they clearly have to be trying to follow Marvel's game plan route. That's just logic.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do that, well, what's the biggest storyline you can bring out from DC that Marvel can't contend with? The Crisis storylines. And ultimately Barry Allen is the one who dies. So maybe that explains the casting, is because it is just like, we need a weedy guy to be the Flash for a Flash film, this team up thing, and then we get to kill him.
Yeah.
Infinite Crisis happens, Barry's dead.
No, it's the Crisis on Infinite Earths is the first one.
Okay, sorry.
Infinite Crisis is number 2 and Final Crisis is number 3. And then I'm sure there'll be another one when this new 52 shit.
It would be like the Final Destinations, where there's like 5 final or 9 final destinations.
It'd be like the Fast and the Furious.
Paul Walker's Revenge. I still feel it coming. Yeah, that excites me actually. Then I'm looking forward to seeing Ezra Miller as the Flash, because I get to see him die
and lose his paycheck.
That's right. Nah, Ezra fucking Miller. So yeah.
Alright, well, that answers that question. So now let's throw it over to the big question for the week.
The juicy one. Congratulations.
The drippings one.
The dripping with taint. Congratulations, everyone here. We've been accepted into the Justice League of America. While staying on campus at the Watchtower, there are no rooms available. Solo rooms, empty rooms. We have to board with a current serving member or a past serving member of the JLA. So, who would your choice be?
Are these rooms co-ed?
No.
Same sex? 100% on that?
Yes.
Is this a fraternity like Animal House where I can sneak into the women's dorm? Because that's going to have a lot to do with who I hook up with as well.
No.
Where are the
because
women?
That's sneaking in. That's not the room you've been allocated.
That's right.
No. I'm still gonna
you
hang.
get to choose the
I'm
dorm room.
gonna live in dorm whatever with whoever. But maybe I'm gonna pick somebody who's like, well, yeah, of course we can sneak into the women's dorm room together.
I think you and I are on the same page here.
So that's what I want to
So,
know.
yeah.
Is
it's the same
the JLA Academy, is this police academy? Because if so, I want to know that's going to determine it.
wanna
Or is
find-
this,
you wanna
or is
find
this
them a-
Xavier's Institute for Higher Learning where they expect me to be all moral and shit?
It's actually, I'm going to say Xavier's. I'm going to make it hard for you.
So I have to be clean.
You have.
Okay, my answer's
I'm
the
gonna
same either way,
It's
but I just
Thor,
want to know.
isn't it? No, wait, wrong
Wrong franchise.
Damn.
I'll answer mine last now. Now that
Okay.
you've decided to be a bitch. And we'll go Braden first. Let's see what he's going to say.
I honestly don't know. Come back to me. I don't know at the moment.
All right,
I really
We've had a
don't.
whole show to marinate.
I know, and I'm stuck.
You have failed this podcast, sir.
Yeah.
Probodice Stain, what do you got?
Um,
That was an Iron Man one. Did you like that one? Did you like it? Yeah.
No.
Is,
Iron Man 1 or
yeah.
Iron Man 3?
No, that was an no. Yeah.
I
I didn't call him the Probe Darin.
I didn't hear what you called him.
Probodice Stain.
Ah, nice.
That's all it gets from Braden.
nice.
Nice.
With that said, though, like when his kid was born, he was kind of like, okay,
Cool.
is that how that works? Sweet.
So I'm a dad now.
He just put the cowl on. He was like, I now have a higher calling. I'm getting back into business.
Nappies and warming milk bottles.
And cleaning poo off of walls.
Yay, poo.
Yay, poo. Anyway, back to the...
Is Superman in the JLA?
Yeah.
DC.
So-
Think DC Comics.
Yep, so I'm going to go with Superman.
Why?
A, because he's not going to crack onto me because he's so fucking heart-bent on Lois Lane.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to have to
hang
worry
on.
about any
What?
gay entre... you know.
Okay, no, these are his reasons.
Okay.
Let him go.
Not only that,
I'm just intrigued to know which other heroes you think it's going to be up in the room, just to like, you know,
Anal?
you are the most. You are the most luxurious man I've ever seen, and I can't go. I know I've never been gay before in the comics, because let's face it, we have like one gay character per comic because we don't want to freak out America too hard. But you, sir, in all your pro-malicious goodness, have turned me. Superhero levels of gay.
Anyway, second reason.
second reason is because if... Okay, so you're in the Justice League, so you've got... You know, obviously schoolwork to do and whatever else, and training and whatnot. Superman is going to be the best one that you can train with, because if you're in cahoots with Superman, you go on anything that Superman's with, you don't have to fucking do shit.
Ah, so
Unless he gets kryptonited.
Yeah,
And then you're boned, because you
yeah,
have
but,
a dude who's
but
boned.
okay, so the people that are going to kryptonite him are going to be what? Lex Luthor, which is a bald...
Any of his villains? Have you seen the Superman villains? They
Yeah,
don't fuck
true.
around. Because here's the thing: unless you kryptonite him, you're
Is
fine.
Right, so-
Metallo is
Metallo.
He's the
Metallo
one with
has
the heart
the
of
kryptonite heart.
Yeah, that's the one.
Then you got dudes like Doomsday who has kryptonite infused in his bones. You know,
Okay.
Luthor is
Alright.
the smallest of your issues.
Alright, well fine. Well, I'm just going for the lazy option. Alright, I
Okay,
won't,
so
I
you're
won't
thinking
lie.
mentor-wise, yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's
mental-wise,
Okay.
yeah, I don't have to do much
heavy lifting.
heavy
literally.
lifting. Like, you know, hey, Superman, this HI's just blocking this dude's leg in here. Can you just lift it up and I'll pull him out and look like a hero?
Or conversely, if you've got a small bar fridge, you made yourself a cup of coffee and just spilt some sugar underneath the fridge. You don't want to get ants, just lift it up, wipe under, done. Teamwork.
Yeah. Superman, I'm drunk on the town.
I need to lift home.
I need to lift home. Can you take my car as well? Because I don't want to leave my car in the city.
Good move.
I do love how in your mind, rooming with these people, he's just your butler now. Superman's just your bro. He's just like, yeah, I'm just busy saving the fucking world.
Sorry,
but yeah, I'll
we've
give you a lift
been
home.
pronouncing his name wrong. Superman.
Yeah, Superman.
Sorry, Superman.
There you go.
Okay.
Now there's a possibility he could be gay.
So, Probster's hooking up with Superman. Who have you got, Tez?
No, go to Braid.
We're going
Alright,
Braden? Okay.
yeah, I'm good now. I'm good. So yeah, I guess this whole show I've been thinking, who the hell can I get to do the most for me because I'm a lazy son of a bitch.
Oh, everyone's
And I think I'll go with Green Lantern.
Which
because,
one? Diggle?
I don't really care. It's the ring that I'm interested in.
So you're interested in the
So
ring.
Diggle, okay, cool.
So you want the ring of another man?
So you
That's
want
fine.
you want Diggle's ring,
Not Diggle.
and to think so. I guess realistically, Matt needs to be worried about staying in a room with Braden. By the sounds of it.
Well, he's not part of the jail. Like, he's got.
Well,
to...
he is.
He is now. He's just been accepted.
Yeah, there you go.
And you do have long, luxurious hair that he could like pull on.
Yeah.
Well,
And
that's
he
why I've
does
got
love
Superman,
Nickelback.
so he
You
can
did
throw
say
He
that little
absolutely
bitch out.
loves Nickelback. So I'm sure that you
Wow, Adam is getting punched later on.
know. Well, that's okay because I never made it as a wise man, and I couldn't cut it as a poor man stealing.
Oh, fuck me.
Okay, so
Good thing I don't want to wait.
well, for your life to be over. Well, I do. I want to know right now whose Braden's will be. Besides Green Lantern, which Green Lantern? Which one?
I don't care which Green Lantern. Doesn't matter.
Okay,
which
so
Green.
you
Whichever
want the
Green
ring. Why do you want the
Lantern's in
ring?
the league at this point in time that we get accepted?
Okay,
Because
so you've got John
you know,
Stewart.
we're just chilling on the
So-
couch and be like, hey man, can you just will me up a drink? Thanks.
That's not how
That
that.
doesn't
No,
work.
that's not how that works, man. It's not
Only
magic. It
Africa.
can only create like barriers or like
What is
shit
the
out of.
actual
It's
word?
fine. He can will
Yeah,
me up
construct.
a robot to go get me a drink.
Okay, yeah, that would work.
That's fair. That's cool.
Yeah, I can give you that.
But then again, he would have to concentrate on doing that for you.
Again,
Yeah.
turning a superhero into
Yeah,
a
but
butler.
we're just chilling in like just what
This
we're
is
just
in
on
the
the couch,
downtime.
like, it's not like we're mid battle and I'm like, give me a fucking robot to get a drink. It doesn't need to concentrate on
You've
too
gotta-
many things at once.
I'm going to add a side note. You have to see the new DC JLA movie just for what Hal Jordan brings out of his ass as construct-wise. It's hilarious.
Which one are you talking about?
Throne of Atlantis.
I've seen it.
Yeah, what he's using in the final battle against the Atlanteans.
The fucking vacuum cleaner.
He's a dick.
That was
And
great.
it's the stone cold face that he's got while he's doing it, just driving this mech warrior along that's just sucking up everyone up and throwing them out the back. Just like a crazy back.
And just shooting him out the back again.
Shooting him out the back, he's just cleaning house. It's like, how, my man.
Yeah, that John Diggle's a good guy.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so you want me to go or do you want to go?
You can go first.
Okay.
Because inevitably, this is how it'll go. You'll make some really good points. Everyone go, yeah, that's really good. I'll say mine, and then you'll tear mine to shit.
Yeah, because I'm always right. Now, the correct answer to this question, obviously, is, actually, I'll throw this open. Let's see how well you guys know me. Who am I rooming with?
Batman.
No.
Not Batman. No, won't be Batman. Too dark and broody. Won't be Batman. Batman's too dark and broody. Are we talking about Adam Gerard?
That's who I am, so yes. I'm not Proby McProveston, I'm Adam Gerard.
You're also
Red Thunder.
4.
Huh?
That's Marvel.
4.
Marvel can't do
Oh,
Marvel.
Marvel. Yeah.
See, if it was Marvel, Eric Allen Kramer. In real life, if you were like, you can have one roommate, who'd be Eric Allen Kramer?
Yeah, you'd get bitches and beer.
Yeah, and if people came to the door, I'd be like, oh no, Joe, you'd be
am
like,
a
I got
certain
this.
man.
I don't like your face.
Who would I say? I would
Come on.
actually say, there's part of me that would say Hawkman.
Nope.
For the debates.
Oh yeah,
For the
but
debating.
that's basically, that just turns me into Green Arrow.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I'm okay with the fact that you see me as Green Arrow.
Yes, that's fine. So, like, just for the debating, I would
Yep.
say Hawkman. I would say for the fun times, I'd say Hal Jordan. For the fun times. Going out, town.
See, anytime somebody says Hal Jordan now, I think about the Ryan Reynolds one.
Oh,
It's
okay.
ruined Hal Jordan for
See,
me.
the thing is, I think of Nathan Finland.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
So that,
Mhm.
Nathan Finland's Hal Jordan.
Animated Hal Jordan, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. No, still wrong. You got one more guess.
I'd say Dick Grayson.
You would be correct. That's who I'm rooming with, because, look man, let's face it, I'm rooming with me. I'm hanging out with my bro, and literally, you're going to be all like, women are on another campus, this is Xavier's Institute for Higher Learning. Me and Dick Grayson are going to be like, yeah, no worries.
We'll just go out for a couple of hours.
No, we just hack in the security system or something. We'll do something, but me and Dick Grayson are going to tear that shit up. Plus, I'm going to learn how to do awesome flips.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm going to learn how to have a personality. And you know for a fact, if I get in good with Nightwing, I'm getting in the Batman family. Therefore, I become a Red Bat Thunder.
That is some fine logic.
So,
Or
coming
Red
soon, Bat
Robin.
Thunder.
Bat Thunder.
What about Grodd?
No, Red Robin.
Oh, Tim Drake.
Nah, I want to be no Red Robins. Robin's not my style. I'm a lead man.
Sure you are. Who am I thinking? I'm actually probably going to go for Nathan Fillions' animated Green Lantern. Yep.
You're just piggybacking on Braden.
No.
You can't even have your original thought.
No. That was my original thought from the get-go.
I don't believe you.
Yeah, you believe me like I believe you actually getting into the Bat family. There's height restrictions, I'm pretty sure.
That's okay. In the future, when you're all like, yo, man, I'm a totally corrupt cop, I'll be all like, wish I could help you, but I'm not part of the Bat family, and that sounds like something the Batman would solve.
We've had the discussion. I'm going Jim Gordon way.
Isn't...
How it is.
We'll see.
Aren't you like a centimetre taller than Adam?
No, 3 inches, where it counts.
Yeah, and height. I got all the rest of it. There's a reason that I'm pulled down by gravity.
He who goes through
the
airplane.
The weight of my balls makes like I don't have taint gravy. I have a taint waterfall. That's how big my balls are, and the amount of just heat they generate. It's like a hippity hop. I can just bounce it down the street.
So why aren't you generating electricity off those suckers?
Hell, ooh.
It's nuclear fission. They won't grant me a nuclear power plant yet.
No, but no, I'd say...
Okay, so Green Lantern, why? Is it like Braden, so you can have a robot go get your sodas?
No, I mean, like...
So you can have a vacuum cleaner and suck people out and shoot them out the back.
Basically, imagine the good times, like, I've never seen Hal Jordan have a boring construct. Like, Nathan Finland's animated Green Lantern have a boring construct. He's always...
Comic book Green Arrow is pretty... comic Green Lantern's pretty like that as well.
Yeah, so, and if you mix comic book and animated Flash, because they're buddies... It's not going to be a boring time. And if I want tacos fresh from Mexico, Flash, do me a solid.
Whoa, you only get one. I'm not able to call Batman in and be like, hey, Bats, can I have some money?
No. What I'm saying...
I need some textbooks.
Actually, Batman probably would... He actually seems like the type who would actually help you out with tuition.
If I can throw this out there, I'm sure Batman would be like, you don't need textbooks. The way you learn is on the street through kicking ass.
No, I'm pretty sure
Bruce Wayne would give you money.
I'm pretty sure his...
I think everything's given to you by Ian. He's educated in the way of the fists.
I'm
educated to kick ass.
So Terry's trying to basically make Batman an ATM.
No,
that was me.
No,
he wants Flash. Basically, what it comes down to is Braden and Terry want to use superheroes for some sort of food delivery service because they're too fucking slack to drive to the drive-thru.
No, what I was saying...
I want to go with Robin so I can learn to be a hero.
I could ride on Superman's back through the drive-thru.
and you're just like, I don't want to... You're basically... Your entire aim is to do nothing. You just want to like... You want to go a step beyond them where you're like, well, fuck it, I'll hook up with the most powerful dude so I can just literally coattail ride.
Yeah,
they're sitting in their fucking apartment being like, we want to watch Breaking Bad, bring us food, and I'm with Nightwing being like, yo, can I learn how to fight crime? So out of all of us, I'm the only one taking this seriously.
Hold on. I've turned around and said, I'll room with Nathan Finland's animated Green Lantern, right, because the good times. It'll be good times.
Yeah, and then the good times you'll get Flash to get your tacos.
Yeah, we'll be hanging out and I'll be like, hey, dude, do you want to get me tacos? I'll buy. No worries.
That's how I know you're full of shit. That's how I know this is a fictional story.
Yeah. Because, Dick Grayson doesn't exist.
Because Terry totally shouts every time.
Yeah.
Oh, so much stuff to bring up from the past. It's okay.
Do you want a Kleenex?
No, that's fine.
That's not from the past. Unless that's his nickname. Hey, baby, come here and touch the past. Quickly, there's a paradox. You're about to run back into the past. Be careful, some of the past sweat drip down into my taint. Be careful of the gravy. The past gravy.
The Travy.
The Travy, there you go.
The Travy.
Ah. Well, I think that sums up that one. It's, how do we always end up at the end of these episodes talking about
balls?
Considering the last invisible, the poop vortex that is Invisible Woman's butt, or ball sweat becoming crazy.
The last segment is the bat sack, so it kind of heads it this way.
His fault.
Yeah, totally my fault. Even though we've got a probie here, doesn't know the two golden rules.
Sit in my corner and shut the fuck up.
No, you're wrong. Shut the fuck up.
Oh.
That it's okay when it's in the three-way?
No.
It's clear when you see the instant replay? Maybe 2 is enough. That's what they'll say. But we'll say, hell no. 1, 2, 3 way. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Ha ha. And on that note, it's time once again to say goodbye and thank you for joining us here another week from the Batcave. It's been a pleasure. We hope you've entertained us. Please hit us up on Facebook. Hit us up on WordPress where you can find all of our episodes. Don't forget to go to our YouTube channel. You can find all of our past videos and our promos as well as skits and sketches that we've written to entertain the masses. That would be you. And also, you can email us your questions at fromthebatcave.podcast@gmail.com. That's fromthebatcave.podcast@gmail.com. Send in your questions and they may get read next week in the Bat Sack. Basically, your questions could be emptied. That's what I'm trying to say. They could come flushing out of the sack at any moment.
Gushing from your taint.
Yeah, dripping.
Dripping. Oh, I thought you were so big that you were gushing.
I'm not most people. That's like saying, that's like using a Lufrino's body type as, like, the litmus test. That's like the 1%.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I'm the 1% of people with elephantitis of the knob.
Oh, right.
Which is very rare. Yeah, just the knob.
the knob.
And the
Looks like a
balls,
mushroom.
too.
So it's just the knob and balls.
Yeah.
So the shaft is like a pinky.
It's like a mushroom with
No, the whole-
beach balloons.
The whole thing is me knob. I'm not just talking about the crown. The whole thing. It's not like an extendable ear in Harry Potter or some shit. Look, this is unimportant. I'll hang on, here, hang on. Just give me a sec. I'll flop it out. Hang on. There you go. See, not just head. Now, just give me a minute. I gotta wind it back up on the pulley system I've got here.
All I heard was...
And that was Proby sticking another gerbil up his butt. And on that note, tune us in. Join us next week, and you can find out the fate of Proby's butt hamster. But until then, I have been Red Thunder Adam Gerard, and I've been joined into this quest from the Batcave this week by my fellow psychopaths and sinners, the Honey Badgetarian here.
See ya.
The Dad Knight, Braden Ahern.
Goodbye.
And the Probiest Proby, whoever did Proby in the world of Proby. Proby McProby, Proby Probes. Matthew, Proby, Richards, Proby.
The Chad.
The Chad Proby.
Probe you later.
And who are you?
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman. I'm Batman. I'm Batman. I'm Batman. Yes, I'm Batman.
Telegram.
I am Batman.
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
You sound like Cookie Monster.
I'm Batman. That's Batman. I'm Batman. I'm Batman.
I'm thirsty. I'm hungry.
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman. I'm Batman. I'm Batman.
I'm Batman. Darling, I don't have to answer to you. I'm Batman.
I'm totally Batman. Clearly, I am Batman.
I am Batman.
This has been a Cabana production.
So am I, like, if I speak like this, is it registering on the board okay, or?
Yeah, I watched at the moment instead of looking at the board, I watched our peak things here.
Oh, okay, yep.
And as long as we're all around kind of the same thing, unless you get really loud, in which case it's going to be obvious, I know that we're
Yep,
safe.
okay. I'm just trying to work out.
Because our mic, because we've got spit filters on our mics,
Yeah.
they never really go into the green. But that doesn't mean we're not loud, it just means that it's not, like, for instance, if I move this, suddenly I'm in the green. I do it here,
So,
and I'm not because it's catching out all that pop and hiss and shit and just
See, I
making us...
literally, when you say spit guards, I literally think it's just for spit.
No, it's
Alright.
catching out the wind
filter.
and the... Yeah.
Alright, cool.
To, like, see
So,
when I
like,
go pop.
watch. So you can hear his
Pop.
pop.
Pop. Oh, yeah, cool. Alright.
It's a pop filter.
See? How...
Whereas if I go
This Braden, on Braden's end, he must just be like, what the fuck is happening inside my head? Or these
a whole bunch of minutes. Whole bunch of masturbation going on right now.
So much popping.
It's some more of the noises Shia LaBeouf makes.
Have we found a sound for Shia LaBeouf yet?
No, he's unsoundable apparently.
Unsoundable.
There was a good solid 45-second conversation. We still couldn't define Shia LaBeouf as a sound effect.
As a sound effect. All right.
Autobots, colostomize.